Chapter 21. In the end, the meal wasn't as he wished. If he knew that this would happen, he shouldn't have asked Liang Ichu to come over. What was there to talk about? Just to see him act cool without batting an eyelid? Society was really good. The drunk fragrance pavilion manager was about to laugh out loud. Good person, so good. The benefits that Lin family young master brought him were comparable to a month's worth of earnings. If other people said that young Master Lin was dumb, he would be the first to retort. That wasn't dumb, that was love. What did they know? At the start, Lin Fan relaxed his mentality. It was okay that he was more handsome than me. It was okay that he was taller than me. That was because no matter what, it would always be true that he was richer than me. But in the end, reality was like a merciless slap on his face. Money? Damn. He didn't even have a single tael of savings. Compared to a rich person with 10,000. He was just asking to be humiliated. The refugees ate their fill. Although this wasn't the first time they ate so much, it was the most luxurious meal they had in their lives. Maybe even if they died, they wouldn't think that they would be able to eat such luxurious food in their lives. They dispersed. The refugees left with blissful smiles on their faces. What was left was for Manager Chen and Go Zi to work on distributing the land and providing suitable funding. Lin Fan didn't feel like this was a losing deal. In the long run, this was a form of improvement. Unfortunately, no one understood. However, Liang Ichu's brain did. Lin Manor entrance. I feel like something isn't right. Lin Fan stood at the entrance and didn't dare to walk in. Go Zi said softly. Young master, we have reached home. Lin Fan took in a deep breath. He raised his legs and stepped into his home. A storm was brewing. He knew that running away was useless, and he had to face it bravely. Lin Fan asked the guard at the door, "Did my father go out?" "Young master, old master went out long ago." When he heard that, he heaved a sigh of relief. It was good that he went out, but he knew that what would come would come. He couldn't hide from it. He wasn't a fool. Would his father forgive him for what he did today? He exempted the Wang family village taxes for this year and lowered the future taxes. His father wanted to chop him to death. If they were to distribute a portion of the spare farmland to the refugees without his consent, the consequences would be even worse. If he wasn't his son, he would probably have to prepare for his funeral. No rage points came, which meant that his father didn't know yet. But it was only a matter of time. He would find out sooner or later. Before returning to the courtyard, Lin Fan instructed Manager Chen to handle this matter properly. Even if he would be beaten up, he didn't care. The allocation of farmland was the right thing to do. Not only would the refugees be grateful to the Lin family, but they would also work harder to farm. Their harvest would not be much less than before. Maybe even more. This was killing two birds with one stone. How could he not understand? In the backyard. "Cousin, don't go out in the afternoon," Zhou Zhongmao reminded. He felt that if his uncle knew about this, he would definitely be furious. If his cousin went out again in the afternoon, his uncle would probably jump up in anger. "I'm tired too. Let's take a break." Lin Fan was thinking about how to solve this problem. It was only natural that rage would come, but the key was to handle this matter beautifully. It would be best if he could appease his father. Zhou Zhongmao heaved a sigh of relief. Luckily, his cousin listened to him. "Cousin, go do what you need to do. I want to rest here. Also, help me find out where my father went and when he will be back." Lin Fan was thinking of a plan to deal with this. Normal methods probably wouldn't work anymore. He had to think of some top techniques. "Don't worry, cousin, I will go find out now." Very quickly, Zhou Zhongmao left. He was eager to do things for his cousin, and he didn't hesitate at all. Lin Fan laid on the chair, and Go Zi immediately went to get some ice fruits to quench his thirst. He was living so freely. Only a rich family would have such ability. Normal commoners wanted to eat ice fruits, but they probably couldn't even eat ice. Go-Zi waved his fan and asked, "Young master, I copied a secret technique last night. Do I need to paste it all over the courtyard?" "No need for now. Let me take a look at the heart cultivation technique," Lin Fan said. With the current situation, it was better not to paste it. Although it was his father, if the rage flames were too high, something might happen. Lin Fan took the heart cultivation technique and waved his hands to tell Go-Zi not to fan. "Go rest in the room at the side. You must be tired." "Young master, I am not tired. Go rest," Lin Fan said. Go-Zi had been cultivating the vengeful tiger blade technique since Lin Fan rewarded him. He had no time to cultivate in the day, so he used the night time. Even if his body was made of iron, he wouldn't be able to take it. "Yes, young master. If you need anything, just call me," Go-Zi said and then walked towards the room at the side. Lin Fan's courtyard didn't only have one room, there were also rooms for the guards. In the past, he didn't like people living here, so it was left empty. He looked at the heart cultivation technique in his hand. He frowned. Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture. "Forget it, I will just take a look." Lin Fan flipped to the first page. The contents were really deep and hard to understand, but luckily, he could understand the word. The meridians and acupoints were like a heavenly book to him. The courtyard was silent. In the distance, when old Wu saw young master flipping the Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture, he smiled happily. It seemed like young master had changed. Old Wu's position was really obvious, but no one noticed him. It was like he was one with the surrounding environment. Suddenly, old Wu looked at young master with his mouth agape. What did he see? A snake-like purple mist seeped out from young master's Guanyuan acupoint and wrapped around his body before merging into the Baihui acupoint at the back of his head. "How is that possible?" Old Wu exclaimed. "Who?" When Lin Fan heard the voice, he looked towards the source of the voice. It was totally empty and there was no movement at all. "Illusion, illusion." Lin Fan shook his head. It seemed like he was so frightened by the assassin that he was hallucinating. He just finished reading the Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture. The small support system changed. Heart cultivation, Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture, unlearnt. He noticed that he could add point. He tried it out. He consumed 500 rage points and there were changes. Heart cultivation, Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture, Grade 1. Internal strength jumped from 0 to 1. Physique 30, Martial Path Grade 1, Internal strength 1. Heart cultivation, Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture, Grade 1, Cultivation Technique, Vengeful Tiger Blade Technique, reach the peak, rage points, 1001. He could feel that there was an energy current in his body that he could control. Although it was small, it did exist. Maybe this was the so-called internal strength. Physique rising to 30 means Martial Path Grade 1. If my internal strength rose to, it would also be Martial Path Grade 1. Then, what am I cultivating? Was he cultivating both internal and external strength? Annoying. Really annoying. He thought about it for a moment. Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture had a total of 33 grades. Each time it rose a grade, his various aspects would increase by a lot. Logically speaking, the first grade was 500 rage points. With his current rage points, he could raise it to the second grade. However, he couldn't add this point. He could add points to internal strength. However, he was thinking about something. He said that he would enjoy a rich life, so why did he have to worry about this? Forget it, let's have a good rest. I have to think about what to do to make father angry and then calm down. I can't let anger harm my body. Chapter 22. Old Wu hid behind the artificial hill. His expression was one of shock. How is that possible? How long has it been since young master obtained the Purple Sun 4 Holy Scripture? He believed in the existence of geniuses. However, he didn't believe in such a perverted existence. Quietly, he wanted to peep. Old Wu noticed that young master was lying there leisurely, sending fruits into his mouth and humming a song. Weren't you cultivating just now? Why did it stop again? If old master knew that young master was so powerful, he would definitely be happy. Old Wu felt that they didn't understand young master. Whoever dared to call his young master trash, he would be the first to cripple him. If he was trash, would he be able to cultivate the Purple Sun 4 Saints scripture to the first level in such a short time? Yuan family. Zhua City Su family 7th Miss came to Yu City. Because a young lady of the Yuan family had married into the Su family and became the concubine of a young master of the Su family, the relationship between them was much closer than between the Lin family and the Liang family. In the living room, the 7th young mistress of the Su family sat at the head of the table. The swelling on her face had mostly disappeared, but there was still a faint trace of it. He didn't come to Yu City for anything, just to take a look. Liang Yongqi had been beaten up today. The wound on his face hadn't even healed yet, and the gift he had bought was shattered. This made him furious. Originally, with his looks, he was confident that he could converse with Miss Seven. If he could leave a good impression in front of Miss Seven, or go one step further and marry her, then the position of the Liang clan's patriarch would definitely belong to him. Big brother or not, they all had to stand aside. But now? Damn it. After being beaten to such a state, how could he still have the face to go up to her? It was already good enough that he wasn't hated by others. The head of the Liang clan sat there calmly. He already knew that San Er had been beaten up. Naturally, he was also very angry. Everyone, since Miss Seven is here today, I have something to ask Patriarch Lin. Patriarch Liang put down the teacup in his hand and said calmly. Lin Wani glanced at him. Please speak. Liang family head signaled San Er to stand up and said, Everyone can see, my San Er was beaten up by Lin family head's son in the middle of the street. Shouldn't you give me an explanation? Pucci. When Su Gang saw Liang Yongqi's miserable state, she couldn't help but laugh out loud. He didn't even try to cover himself. He was smiling very happily. So there was someone who was even more miserable than her. If this laughter came from any random person, the Liang family head would dare to make them crawl out on their knees. But this was the 7th miss of the Su family. He did not have the ability to do so. Lin Wani didn't get angry. Instead, he asked himself, does my son have such a tiger's nature? Liang Yongqi had always been a handsome and elegant man. With a fan in his hand, he could charm thousands of girls. However, his current appearance was greatly reduced. Old Master Lin, I didn't offend anyone. In order to welcome Miss Seven, I brought my servants to buy gifts in the city. Your son, on the other hand, didn't say anything when he saw me and beat me up. Shouldn't you give me an explanation? Liang Yongqi said. The corners of his mouth twitched as he spoke. It hurt a lot. The more he thought about it, the angrier he became. Rage plus 66. Lin Wani smiled. Young Master Liang, everyone knows that my son doesn't cultivate. You are at martial path grade 3, so how can my son beat you? It was your son who told Zhou Zhongmao to hit me. Liang Yongqi growled, his tone fluctuating. The head of the Yuan family sat at the side and didn't say anything. To him, it was just a game. Just watch. There was no need to get involved. Yuan family second young master Yuan Tianchu shook his head and said regretfully, Brother Liang is a young master of a big family in Yu City. To be beaten up on the streets, not only did he lose face, but he also lost face for the Liang family. Tianchu, shut up. Who are you trying to say that to? Stand to the side. The Yuan family head scolded. Yes, father. Yuan Tianchu stood there obediently. If he could stir up conflict between the Lin and Liang family, that would be a good thing. Third son, that is enough. The Lin family head is a respectable person in Yu City and will definitely give you an explanation. Does Miss Seven want to laugh at you? The Liang family head said. Su Gang looked on like she was watching a show. I won't laugh at you. Continue to talk, let me see how this matter will be solved. She was someone who didn't mind a show. I know about the Lin family, young master, I have met him once. He is a decent person. Maybe you are too annoying, which is why you were beaten up. Su Gang smiled and said. In her mind, she thought about that person. He didn't look handsome, but he gave her a feeling that she had never felt before. Lin Wani squinted his eyes. He didn't expect that his unfilial son would actually have a relationship with the Su family little Mississippi. That surprised him. Liang Yongqi was a little unhappy. Miss Seven, you don't know. That fellow is trash in U City. He does nothing all day and doesn't cultivate. Ah. Su Gang laughed. You make me laugh to death. You City people are so funny. You said that he was trash and then he was beaten up by trash. Then who was the person that was beaten up by trash? Cough cough. The old man beside Su Gang coughed. He told her to restrain herself. She was used to being lawless and didn't bother to hide her mouth. Miss Su you. Liang Yongqi didn't expect that the extremely beautiful Miss Seven would actually say such hurtful words. He wanted to scold her, but he didn't dare to. Shut up. Haven't you lost enough face in front of her? Scram back. The Liang family head hollered in rage. Liang Yongqi was really unwilling. The rage in his head turned into rage points for Lin Fan. Rage plus 77. If it wasn't for that fellow, such a situation wouldn't have happened. The Liang family head was really disappointed. He brought third son over to see if he had a chance to let Miss Seven have a good impression of him. However, looking at the situation, not to mention a good impression, he had lost all his face. Eh? What? Are you unhappy with me? Slap him. Su Gang looked at Liang Yongqi in disdain and said unhappily. Mississippi, the old man muttered. Slap him. Su Gang said. Yes, I understand. The Liang family head exclaimed, Miss Seven, show mercy. Instantly, the old man disappeared from the spot. Shortly after, there was a crisp sound. Liang Yongqi was slapped to the ground. Fresh blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. He fell into a daze. What was going on? He was actually slapped. He raised his head and looked towards Su Gang in rage. Su Gang stared. What are you looking at? If you continue, I will dig out your eyes. Miss Su is magnanimous, don't hurt your body. The Liang family head couldn't take it anymore and stood up. He then looked towards Liang Yongqi, scram. Liang Yongqi was furious. He climbed up and left dejectedly. Yuan Tianchu stared at Su Gang. He really didn't expect this Su family seventh miss to be so violent. She attacked right away. She didn't give the Liang family any face at all. The old man opened his mouth. Liang family head, my little miss is still young and messed around a little. Please don't take it to heart. Although he was apologetic, he had no intention of apologizing at all. The old man relied on his own strength. The little miss represented the entire Su family. The youngest seventh miss of the Su family, the apple of the old ancestor's eye. She got whatever she wanted in the Su family. No, little Miss Su is right. My unfilial son dared to behave so arrogantly in front of her. He is lucky that I didn't kill him, the Liang family head said. What else could he do? Argue with the Su family? His own strength was much weaker. Lin Wani was really calm. Didn't she want to reason with him? Why was he slapped in the end? P.S. Please give me a recommendation, hee. Chapter 23. That's more like it. Su Gang said proudly. That fellow dared to be unhappy in front of her. If they were in Zwa City, he would have been killed on the spot. Liang family head returned to his seat. Although he was expressionless, the rage in his heart was endless. Okay, let's not think about such small matters. However, Brother Lin, there is something I have to say. Your kid has done many things recently. Yuan family head said. He looked towards Su Gang and asked, "Seventh little miss, if someone breaks the rules set by the aristocratic families in Zwa City, what should we do?" Lin Wani didn't panic. He knew what she was thinking. She just wanted to talk about the unfilial kid. The agricultural tax matter made him very angry. However, he could scold the unfilial kid, but he couldn't allow others to do so. "I eat and drink in the Su family, I don't care about rules and like to break them. You ask me what should I do? How would I know? You all just do as you see fit." Su Gang smiled. Such annoying things. He was too lazy to bother about them. Liang family head and the others were furious but didn't dare to say anything. If not for the Su family, she would have died long ago. "Brother Yuan, I know what my kid did before. It was just a small matter, is there a problem?" Lin Wani said. The Yuan family head shook his head. Brother Lin was indeed just playing around, not worth mentioning at all. "It seems like you don't know what happened today. Today, your young master went outside the city and brought a lot of lowly commoners with him. He gave you a lot of the Lin family's empty field." "Brother Lin, do you have anything to say about that?" The moment he said that, Lin Wani frowned, huge waves rose up in his heart. Unfilial kid. What an unfilial kid. How dare he? What he did before might not be worth mentioning, but if what he said was true, then this, thinking about that, for some reason, the rage in Lin Wani's heart exploded. Yuan Tianchu opened his mouth. "Old Master Lin, you know about you city's rules. You can't just change it like that. If those commoners see the Lin family change, then what should we do? Or do we have to split out our land, exempt it this year, and only collect 10% next year?" This time the Yuan family head didn't scold him. His son was right, their Yuan family wouldn't take responsibility for this matter. He needed the Lin family to give him an explanation. Lin Wani squinted and was expressionless. However, in his heart, he was furious at this unfilial kid. What kind of trouble was this? However, as a father, he would not blame his son in front of others, nor would he make his son apologize to these people that he disdained. There was no hesitation. "I knew about this a long time ago. It was my idea," Lin Wani said. He had to shoulder the responsibility. "Brother Lin, how could we not know if it was your idea or not? This matter is easy to resolve. It's not a big deal. As long as your son makes it clear to those lowly commoners that it's all a lie and that he's just toying with them, this matter will be over. What do you think?" Patriarch Yuan said with a smile. Lin Wani laughed. "Brother Yuan, I don't understand what you're saying. Since it was my idea, why should I let my son bear the responsibility?" Patriarch Yuan and Patriarch Liang looked at each other. Their eyes flashed with anger. At this moment, the old man beside Su Gang opened his mouth. "My little miss didn't come here to listen to your three families talk about this. Ha ha ha, old Su is right. Let's not talk about it, let's not talk about it. When the banquet starts, we still have to welcome little Miss Su." Yuan family head smiled. It was as if the matter just now had been settled just like that. "It's too boring. In my opinion, why don't you let the younger generation of your race compete to relieve my boredom?" Su Gang leaned back in her chair, feeling extremely bored. She just wanted to have some fun. Yu City was just too broken. If she hadn't found that thief who dared to hit her, she didn't want to stay here. "Okay, then we will listen to little Miss Su's instructions. Let the younger generation of our families compete and let little Miss Su give us some pointers." Yuan family head smiled. At the same time, he looked towards Lin Wani. It was really simple. She wanted Lin Wani to call his son over. Just at that moment, Lin Wani got up and cupped his fists. "Little Miss Su, I have something to do, so I will take my leave." Seeing how Lin Wani didn't give her face, how could Su Gang take it? Just as she wanted to say something, old Su pulled her back, shaking his head to tell her not to say anything more. Within the hall, Yuan and Liang family heads were suppressing their anger. Due to seventh Miss being there, they didn't explode out. However, in their hearts they really wanted to rip Lin Wani into pieces. What are you all doing? Didn't you agree to my request? Hurry up and prepare. Su Gang urged. She couldn't wait to watch the show. The two family heads went to arrange it, but they couldn't let seventh Miss stay here alone. Yuan family head said to his son, Tianshu, stay and accompany her. Yes, father. Yuan Tianshu replied. After these 2 days of interaction, he realized that this seventh Miss wasn't easy to deal with. However, if he could seduce her, there would be huge benefit. Even if it wasn't easy, he had to bite the bullet. Su Gang said in disdain, Why do I need him to accompany me? She is so ugly and disgusting. Hurry up, otherwise, when I return to the Su family, I will tell my grandfather that you all treated me badly. Yuan Tianshu felt really awkward. Who would dare to say such words to him? Especially when it was a girl who hadn't even grown her pubic hair. Little Miss Su, it will be ready soon. Please wait. Yuan family head called his son over. She was an ancestor and couldn't be offended. At this moment, only Su Gang and old Su were left in the hall. Little miss, you need to change your temper. Old Su shook his head and smiled bitterly. Each time little miss went out, she would offend many people. If the Su family wasn't strong, they wouldn't be able to take it. Su Gang didn't care. That fellow was so arrogant, not giving me face at all. He just left like that. Old Su said softly, Little miss, although your city is secluded, it is an important place. There are 3 aristocratic families in your city, Liang family and Yuan family. You can do whatever you want, but the Lin family can't. Why not? Liang family and Yuan family have been aristocratic families for many generations. Didn't the Lin family head come from a lowly commoner? What is the big deal? Su Gang didn't care. Little miss, lowly commoners breed boorish men. He is different from them. As he said that, old Su recalled. This boorish man is really boorish. He wanted to head to the imperial city alone, and was stopped by old master. Speaking of which, it has been 20 years. Little miss wasn't even born then. Old Su said. Old master? Great-grandfather? Su Gang asked. She pouted. He isn't that strong. He can't even beat me. Old Su couldn't help but want to laugh. However, he bore with it. Little miss, should I say that you are naive? Or dumb? Forget it. Old master doted on seventh miss a lot. Since he acted like he couldn't beat her, then he wouldn't. However, there was something that made him feel weird. Why would Lin Wani bear with the Liang and Yuan family? What was the reason behind that? Logically speaking, with Lin Wani's strength, he should be invincible in Yu City. P.S. Thank you, Bayan, for accepting your position as the leader of Bayan. Go and update a chapter on Apocalypse as requested. Chapter 24. Lin Manor Back Kitchen. A bunch of chefs trembled as they stood at the side. Young master, let us do it. Just tell us what you want to eat, we will definitely do it. The chefs were stunned. They were even terrified by young master's actions. Everything was fine. Young master came to the back kitchen and wanted to cook personally. They couldn't stop him at all. This was a rich family, so how would they let their master come to the back kitchen? If they found out, they would be in trouble. It is okay. Do what you all do, don't worry about me. Lin Fan held the wok and started to work. The initial dark cuisine was being formed. His hands were trembling. His legs were trembling. He wasn't hungry now, but he was panicking. Just now. The increase in rage points was a little terrifying. Rage points plus 111. Rage points plus 222. Rage points plus 333. Rage points plus 444. Rage points plus 555. Rage points plus 666. Rage points plus 777. It directly jumped to rage points plus 888. Oh my god. Was he joking? Something huge was about to happen. He knew that his father definitely knew. If it wasn't for his father, who else could give him so many rage points? 888 rage points was already really high. It was just too terrifying. It reached the highest point he could reach. His father must be furious to the point of exploding. Although he wouldn't beat him to death, he definitely wouldn't be any better. Father, I hope that you can show mercy with this tomato scrambled egg. Lin Fan was looking forward to it. The chefs stood at the side and looked at the dish that young master was cooking. They couldn't bear to look at it as it was such a mess. However, they didn't dare to say it. They felt that young master was a little off today. After all, he had never done such a thing before. A tomato scrambled egg was done. Young master, let me wash the pot, the chef said hurriedly. Lin Fan stopped him. No need, I will do it myself. I will make another tomato egg soup. This wasn't the time to joke. He came to this world and became a rich family young master. He also had a small support system, and his life was really fun. Other people slowly walked to the peak. He was born at the peak, and there was no way to compare. Was it easy to do those things? Actually, it wasn't. To put it bluntly, he was doing all this for the sake of the Lin family's future. However, his father was probably very angry this time, so he had to do something. The kitchen staff watched. Young master's dishes were too horrible to look at. The scrambled eggs with tomatoes were already burnt and black. As for the tomato egg soup, what the hell was that? In the kitchen, only one person was busy, but it was like a battlefield. After a long while in the backyard. Young master, don't worry. Old master won't be too angry. Go Z consoled. Even he didn't believe his own words. Not angry? It must be a joke. Lin Fan looked at the sky. Dog, don't you feel that there's a black cloud coming from the distance? Go Z took a look. The sky was about to turn dark and old master was about to return. There was no way he could hide what he had done in the day. He couldn't imagine how terrifying old master would be when he found out and didn't dare to imagine it. He could only hope that young master wouldn't be taught a lesson by old master. In the distance, Lin Wani's face was cold and his footsteps were steady. A vengeful energy surged from his body. Ever since he left the Yuan family, he had been filled with anger. When he passed by a place, he saw a bamboo stick. Without hesitation, he held it in his hand and struck towards the Lin manor. He had to fight. It was getting more and more out of hand. Old master, old master. Old Wu was waiting. When he saw old master, he chased. He noticed that old master's face was really solemn. He thought back to what young master did in the morning. He knew. Old master was angry. Don't beg for mercy for this unfilial kid. Today I will break his legs. Let's see how he will cause trouble in the future. Lin Wani said solemnly. No, old master, young master is a genius, a true genius. Today, I noticed that young master was reading the Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture and thought that he was going to cultivate. Suddenly, a purple energy seeped out from his Guanyuan acupoint and merged into his Baihui acupoint. Isn't this a sign of the first stage of the Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture? Young master isn't trash and isn't lazy. He has been quietly cultivating. Old Wu felt really good. It was like his son had a future. He watched Lin Fan grow up. When he was young, he didn't like to cultivate. As an outsider, he was really anxious. And? Lin Wani stopped in his tracks. His expression was one of disbelief. Really? It's absolutely true. I won't be wrong. Old Wu said. Lin Wani thought about it. Let's go, follow me to take a look. At the same time, he passed the bamboo rod to Old Wu. If it is fake, then I will use this rod to break his legs. Although he said those vicious words, that sense of anticipation appeared, and he quickened his footsteps. Old Wu smiled. Old master had a backup plan. He had always been so smart. Back courtyard. Lin Fan felt a terrifying pressure strike him. That was a sign of danger. Young master, old master is here. Go Zi gestured and moved his lips. His body shook. Old master's aura was a little terrifying. Quang Dang. Lin Fan instantly stood up from the chair and took in a deep breath. I can do it. I can't be afraid. Nothing will happen. He walked to the door. When he raised his head, his father was already here. You traitor! Lin Wani was about to scold him, but he was interrupted. Lin Fan walked up and held Lin Wani's arm. They were really close. Father, you must have been busy the entire day. I personally prepared some food and wine for you. Stop talking, follow me. Aya, there is still dust on your shoulder. I will help you clean it. His actions were as ferocious as a tiger's, flowing like water without any pretense. Old Wu's mouth was agape, and he was a little stunned. This series of actions not only stunned Elder Wu, but it also stunned Lin Wani. He didn't resist and just followed Lin Fan in. Within the room, the small dining table was filled with dishes. There was also a bottle of wine. However, the color of the dish was a little ugly. Father, sit. I will go get some water for you to wash your face. Lin Fan headed out to prepare. Old master, young master is smart. Old Wu said. Lin Wani kept silent for a moment and then said, Nonsense. He knows that he can't escape and is begging for mercy. Old Wu smiled. No matter whether or not young master begged for mercy, this is the first time old master has eaten young master's cooking. Scoff, what dishes are they? They are so black, I have no appetite at all. You are wasting these dishes. Lin Wani was unhappy, but his tone didn't sound as angry as before. Maybe young master didn't understand his old master, outsiders didn't either, but he did. He was open to persuasion but not coercion. Old master was tougher than anyone. Even if he lost his life, he wouldn't be soft. Very quickly, Lin Fan carried a basin in. Father, wash your face and eat. Lin Wani scoffed, picked up a towel and wiped his face. He looked at the dishes and asked, What did you make? Father, this is tomato scrambled eggs, tomato egg soup, tomato salad, and shallot eggs. They are all my specialties. Looking at the appearance and taste, they are all not bad. Father, try it. There is also wine. Lin Fan was really nimble. He decisively got busy. Old Wu smiled and felt really happy. Go Zi was stunned and didn't know what to say. Young master really had a way, old master really didn't get angry. Lin Fan told old Wu to sit down, but when he saw the bamboo stick, he asked curiously, Old Wu, what is this bamboo stick for? Old Wu smiled. The sky is dark and the road isn't easy to walk on. It is used to scout ahead. Oh, Go Zi, quickly take the stick away. Lin Fan said. Go Zi quickly sent the stick away. Lin Fan heaved a sigh of relief. Luckily, he reacted quickly. If not, the stick wouldn't just be used to scout ahead. It would also be used to attack. P.S. Thank you, just call me Little Guang. The book horse can fly, the two of you rewarded me with over 20,000. P.S. Thank you, book friend 20180316010946777, Li Yen Wang, book friend 20190108212310348, 3D Elders Reward. Chapter 25. In front of the table, Lin Wani looked at the poison-like dishes. He actually didn't know which dish to eat first. He could only drink a cup. He reminisced for a moment. His frown relaxed. He placed down the wine cup and wanted to say something. Father, let's talk after we finish eating. Try this dish, it is my specialty. Lin Fan picked up a piece of blackened egg and a burnt tomato and placed it in Lin Wani's bowl. Old Wu, don't be so polite, eat first. Lin Fan was really passionate. As for the matter of distributing land to the refugees, he had chosen to toss it to the back of his head. He wouldn't say it out. He couldn't let his father mention it. He wanted to use the delicacies that he personally cooked to convince his father to let him be immersed in the delicacies and not be able to pull himself out. Lin Wani and Old Wu exchanged glances with one another. He looked at the thing in the bowl that couldn't even be considered food. He picked up the chopsticks to try it. Entrance. The tip of his tongue was stimulated and instantly retracted. It entered his throat. His taste buds exploded, and he was in so much pain that he wanted to die. In the battle between taste and food, food won. Lin Wani was totally different from Old Wu. He didn't even have any expression as he just swallowed the food into his mouth. The way he called him changed. He didn't call him unfilial kid like before. That wasn't a good way to call him that. Look at how close he was now. Father, eat first. Let's not talk about anything else. I will pour some wine for you. Lin Fan definitely wouldn't give his father a chance to speak. He filled the cup and then picked up some food. Very quickly, Lin Wani's bowl was filled to the brim with food. Rage points plus 11. As for the 11 rage points, Lin Fan didn't really understand. What? Where did it come from? Who was the angry one? Father definitely couldn't have done it. He spent so much effort to cook a table of dishes, so how could he be angry? At that moment, Old Wu wanted to leave. Why did he have to suffer the pain of his tongue? Were these dishes meant for humans to eat? They were either too salty or too bitter. The key was that they were a total mess. Anyone with eyes could tell that the dishes weren't well made and tasted horrible. However, young master didn't feel anything and continued to pick up food. He glanced and noticed that old master was eating. There was no reaction at all. To Lin Wani, these dishes were hard to swallow, but his heart was filled with sweetness. This was the first time his son had cooked for him. Even if he made a pile of shit, he wouldn't frown and eat it all. Every time Lin Wani wanted to say something, Lin Fan would use the excuse of eating first to brush him off. Suddenly, Lin Wani picked up the bowl of soup and drank it all in one gulp. Clang! The soup bowl was empty, and he placed it on the table. Lin Wani's throat moved slightly, as if he was swallowing something incredible. There were no more dishes on the table. Lin Fan couldn't find any more excuses. He raised his glass and said, "Dad, let me give you a toast." He didn't eat a single bite. He was well aware of the taste of the dishes he cooked. Her father truly loved her. He ate it all in one go and didn't even frown. Apart from shock, he was also touched. A father's love is like a mountain. No matter how disgusting the food was, he could endure it. He decided, "From now on, you will be my father. I won't be disloyal." Lin Fan gulped it down in one gulp. Her originally fair and clean face suddenly became rosy. Lin Wani had something to say. He thought about many things. Since things were like this, what else could he do? He only had one son, so if he didn't support him, who else could he support? "Father, I feel dizzy and can't handle the alcohol." Lin Fan was drunk. His head tilted to the side, and with a thud, it landed on the table. He groaned and fainted just like that. The room was really silent. Old Wu opened his mouth like he didn't expect young master to act drunk and fall asleep. Lin Fan was going to use drunken escape to escape this calamity. Rage points plus 223. At this moment, he realized that the rage points didn't appear at the right time. Logically speaking, his father would say that since he was drunk, then he would talk about it tomorrow. Then, he would let Go Zi help him to rest. However, the situation wasn't right. Father was angry. Him acting drunk made his father, whose mood was getting better, angry once more. If he didn't do it well, the outcome would be catastrophic. Clang! Lin Fan's head seemed to have a spring in it as it bounced up. He acted like he was in a daze as he scratched his head. "Father, the alcohol is really strong. I nearly fainted after finishing it in one mouthful. I am much better now, I am fine." After saying that, he smiled. Like he was saying, "Father, I really didn't act. It was the alcohol that harmed me. Old master, the alcohol is really strong. Young master can't handle it, so it is inevitable that he fainted. Old Wu said. This was just an excuse. As long as one had a normal brain, they wouldn't believe it. Of course, if it was to find a way out, then it must be true. Lin Wani squinted his eyes. His gaze made Lin Fan feel a little uncomfortable. What kind of gaze was that? Why was it so terrifying? He stared for a moment. He opened his mouth and said, Fan, everything you did tonight made me happy and touched. It means that you have grown up. Before Lin Fan could say a few polite words, the topic changed. However, what happened in the morning made me angry, furious, and even filled me with despair. Old Wu got up and waited at the door. What followed was the conversation between Old Master and Young Master. It had been a long time since such a scene occurred. There were fewer and fewer times when Young Master could quietly listen to Old Master speak. Father, Lin Fan wanted to say a few words, but Father stopped him. There is no need for a reason. As a man, as long as you do what you want to do, then don't tell others the reason. It is okay that I don't understand your goal, but you have to be clear about what you are doing. Only then will you not be doing something stupid. Lin Wani got up and walked beside Lin Fan, patting his shoulder. You have grown up. You have to be responsible for the Lin family. Cultivate well, and in the future, you will be able to do what you want to do. The moment he said that, Lin Wani walked out of the room and brought Old Wu away. Lin Fan looked at the back view that disappeared into the darkness. He thought back to the back view of a certain literary genius. It was so well written that he cried when he was young. Father, don't worry. I will do things from my heart and won't do anything that I don't want to do. Lin Fan muttered to himself. He heaved a sigh of relief. This matter had finally passed. His father was still very reasonable. That was great. It was really great. Young Master, are you okay? Gozi asked. He thought that Young Master was going to be scolded by Old Master. Who knew that it would end just like that? It is over. Pack up and sleep, Lin Fan said. Lin Manor Courtyard. Old Master, you are sensible, really sensible. Old Wu said. Sensible? Lin Wani smiled. What was this kid thinking? How could he not know? Let's not talk about it. I will go vomit for a while. My stomach feels uncomfortable, Lin Wani said. Old Master, I feel uncomfortable too. Chapter 26. Liang Manor. Big brother, something good happened. Second young miss ran into the room. Liang Yongqi went to the Yuan family and was beaten up by seventh young Mississippi. He lost all his face and is smashing things in the room. I want to laugh when I see him like that. Second young miss giggled, but seeing that Big Brother didn't react, she found it really boring. Big Brother, why don't you have any reaction at all? Don't you feel like you have vented your anger? Liang Yichu placed down the book in his hand and shook his head with a bitter smile. No matter what, he is your third brother. How can you be so happy that he was beaten up? Kiki, third brother? He isn't my third brother. Only you are my big brother. Second young miss said. Liang Yichu didn't say anything. Second young miss felt bored, so she backed off and continued to look at how crazy her third brother was. After father returned from the Yuan family, his face was dark and sunken as he headed to the reading room. Although he didn't know what happened, he was sure that it wasn't anything good. Liang Yichu thought about what Lin Fan said. It made sense. However, he couldn't. He wasn't confident enough and felt that he couldn't do it from the bottom of his heart. If Lin Fan knew, he would definitely give him a good lesson. He even thought of a name. Confidence Lesson. Lin Family Back Courtyard. Lin Fan laid on the bed and studied the small support system before sleeping. Hayes, what happened today was a battle of wits and mentality. He chuckled. His father was moved by his sincerity. He even accumulated a lot of rage points. Rage points, 5374. The life of a rich family young master is so interesting, it can't be compared to the past. Sleep, rest well. Let's see what fun there is tomorrow. He was a person without a goal. People called him a prodigal. He was so young and wanted to enjoy life. Couldn't he be more hard-working? His youth was wasted just like that. The sky was dark. The moon tonight was not very round, nor was it very bright. Zhou Zhongmao was patrolling outside the back courtyard. Cousin was attacked by an assassin. In case anything happened, he had to guard here to protect Cousin's safety. At the back courtyard entrance there were 2 guards. One of them said, "Teacher, leave this to us. You can go rest. Keep quiet and don't speak. Don't let go of any movement around." Naturally, Zhou Zhongmao would not rest. The person resting inside was his cousin. He was more concerned about this than the guards, so he would pay more attention to his surroundings. He would not hand his cousin's life over to the guards. "I'll go check out the back. You too, don't be lazy. No matter what happens, you must inform me immediately. Don't act on your own," Zhou Zhongmao said. "Yes," the 2 guards replied. Zhou Zhongmao was very vigilant. He spread out his perception, and a white mist seeped out of his body. It flowed along his legs, and like a spider web, it covered the entire backyard. When the moonlight shone down, the ground looked like it was covered with a layer of frost and snow. As long as someone stepped in, he could sense them all. If one's inner force wasn't thick enough, they wouldn't be able to do it. A gust of cold wind blew over. Her long hair was blown by the wind. At this moment, Zhou Zhongmao stood rooted to the ground with a horrified expression. He could feel that someone was standing behind him. The person who could appear behind him without making a sound was definitely an expert. In an instant, there were beads of sweat on his forehead. Bang! His neck suffered a heavy blow and he fainted. His body fell forward and he almost fainted. His pupils constricted and then dilated. He couldn't faint. Zhou Zhongmao only had such a thought in his heart. He definitely couldn't faint. If not, cousin would. He opened his mouth and bit his tongue. A piece of flesh was bitten open, and his mind became much more awake. Demon enforcing heart scripture activated. The muscles on his back swelled up, and thick internal strength turned into mist, which shot out from the pores on his back. The temperature was really high. The air was being evaporated by this temperature, and it started to twist. "There are thorns, bang!" A finger tapped Zhou Zhongmao's back. With a putong sound, he fell to the ground and fainted. "Not bad, you have improved a little." Back courtyard entrance. The 2 guards laid on the ground. They didn't know what happened and they just fainted. Lin Wani wore the mask, and he was dressed in black as he walked towards the courtyard. Within the room, Lin Fan was snoring and the blanket on his body was kicked to the ground. Occasionally there would be shouts. "Kachi!" The wooden window was pushed open, and it gave out a slightly ear-piercing sound. To normal people, such a commotion would definitely wake them up, but to Lin Fan, as long as he was asleep, he might not be able to wake up. Lin Wani looked at the sleeping, unfilial kid. He didn't look too good. It was already the 2nd time, but he still didn't learn his lesson. The sound of the window opening wasn't soft. Why couldn't he wake up? He slept so soundly. Lin Wani walked to the side of the bed. With a swoosh, a dagger appeared in his hand and he placed it in front of Lin Fan's neck. His killing intent was boiling. The air was a little sticky. Any expert would be able to sense the slightest bit of killing intent. The situation in the room was a little awkward. Lin Wani held the dagger and placed it on the unfilial kid's neck. Killing intent surged and boiled. And Lin Fan slept better than anyone else. Occasionally there would be cheers. His crotch felt a little itchy. It chirped a few times and scratched a few times symbolically before going back to sleep. Lin Wani clenched his fists, cracking them. Rage plus 88. Rage plus 123. Unfilial kid, you slept well, right? I will let you sleep well. Lin Wani retracted his dagger and pointed at an acupoint on Lin Fan's body. Lin Fan didn't react and slept even deeper. There was a bang. It sounded like a strike. It was dawn. Quang Dang. Cousin, cousin. Zhou Zhongmao hurriedly pushed open the door. When he saw his cousin lying on the bed, his face turned ashen white. He thought that something bad had happened to his cousin. He pulled him. Cousin, wake up. Cousin is useless to actually be. Zhou Zhongmao didn't finish his words. Lin Fan, who was laying on the bed, woke up and said unhappily, Cousin, what are you doing? It is so early in the morning, why aren't you letting me sleep? Zhou Zhongmao saw that his cousin was fine and shouted excitedly. He grabbed Lin Fan's shoulder and shook it. Cousin, it is great that you are fine. You nearly scared me to death. Wait. Suddenly, Lin Fan told Zhou Zhongmao to calm down. He raised his hand and slowly touched his left eye. See, it was so painful that he sucked in a cold breath. He got off the bed and ran towards the mirror. Instantly, a tragic cry rang out in the back courtyard. Damn, which bastard hit my left eye until it swelled up? Lin Fan hollered. Who did he offend? He just slept and woke up like this in the morning. Cousin, there was an assassin last night. I was useless and was knocked out, allowing him to injure you. Zhou Zhongmao blamed himself. If he wasn't too weak, cousin wouldn't have been injured. Assassin? Lin Fan was stunned. Why didn't he feel anything at all? His left eye was hit to such a state and it was so heavy, so there would definitely be a reaction. However, he didn't react at all and was sleeping really well. He even had a good dream. P.S. Thank you, 90-year-old AD disappeared mysteriously. Book friend 20181117220131260, 2 elders reward you. Chapter 27. Young Master, are you okay? At this moment, Go Zi came too. He knew that young Master faced an assassin last night. He was so shocked that his soul left his body. Can't you tell whether or not I am okay? Quickly bring me an egg. See. Lin Fan felt like his head was about to explode. Just as his right eye felt better, his left eye swelled up. Who was this assassin? He was sick in the head. If he wanted to kill, then kill. Why did he have to torture people? He even attacked when they were sleeping and didn't notice. Despicable, shameless, despicable, despicable. Cousin, what are you thinking about? Lin Fan asked. Zhou Zhongmao was in deep thought. Cousin, I feel like this assassin didn't come to assassinate me. I fought him last night and he was much stronger than me, but he didn't kill me. This means that he didn't come to kill me. Moreover, I was knocked out without being able to fight back at all. His cultivation isn't low and he isn't young either. Cousin, don't doubt me. I have enough confidence. There aren't many people my age who can be stronger than me. At that moment, Cousin seemed to have comprehended something as he walked to the side of the window. Stretching out his finger, Zhang Xian wiped it lightly before raising it up high. There's dust on my finger, and there are shallow footprints here. A true expert would never leave behind any traces. In fact, it wouldn't be a problem for such an expert to use his internal energy to kill him from afar. He opened the window. There was an ear-piercing sound. The sound of opening the window is really loud. As long as one is wary, they would wake up. Why did he do that? Zhou Zhongmao held his chin and frowned in thought. Lin Fan looked at Cousin and wanted to tell him not to do that. However, looking at how serious Cousin was, he couldn't say anything. Suddenly, Cousin came to his senses. Cousin, I understand. He did that on purpose. He wanted you to wake up and know that he was here to give you huge pressure. But Cousin was sleeping too soundly and didn't succeed, so he was furious and attacked you. Wait, the first time he came to assassinate Cousin, he left an internal cultivation technique. How could such an expert leave a secret technique? This can only mean that he did it on purpose. He purposely let Cousin get the secret technique. Maybe his true goal wasn't to assassinate Cousin, but no one knows what his true goal was. Lin Fan was dumbfounded. He had thought that his cousin was just a black-skinned brute. But now he realized that his cousin's thoughts were really meticulous. He could think of so many things. What's wrong, cousin? Is there something on my face? Zhou Zhongmao touched his face and was a little confused. Cousin's gaze was a little different. Nothing. Lin Fan looked at his cousin and hoped that he would continue. Zhou Zhongmao heaved a sigh of relief. It's good that there's nothing. Cousin's biggest question now is why did the assassin only hit Cousin's eyes? Probably because I'm handsome, Lin Fan said confidently. Zhou Zhongmao nodded solemnly. Looks like that's the only possibility. Cousin, your deductions are so logical, but do you know who it is? Lin Fan was furious. If he found this person, he would definitely smash his head. He even dared to beat up the young master of a rich family. Was there still any law? There was no justice in this world. I don't know. Zhou Zhongmao shook his head and said honestly, Cousin, I didn't even see what that person looked like. How would I know who he is? Lin Fan narrowed his eyes. He had asked in vain. If he didn't know, then he would be able to deduce so much. He really thought that his cousin was an amazing person. Very quickly, Gozi brought a warm egg over. The egg was wrapped in a layer of cloth and placed on his left eye. The moment he placed it on, pain struck him and he sucked in a deep cold breath. Don't tell anyone about this. It isn't a good thing. How embarrassing, Lin Fan said. He was unhappy in his heart. That was too much of a bully. Did he really have to do that? Although he had the small support system and could add points to it. However, he didn't like to bully people. Now that someone was bullying him, he couldn't take it anymore. Disperse, disperse. I need some peace. Lin Fan waved his hands. Cousin and Go Zi backed out. Go Zi felt huge pressure in his heart. Young master was attacked once more, but there was nothing he could do. Within the room. Why did it increase again? His rage points increased once more. Rage points. 5,585. I just want to be a rich family young master, unrestrained and happy every day. You forced me to do this. I didn't want to. If you have balls, then come again. I will beat you to death. After being bullied for 2 consecutive nights, anyone wouldn't be able to take it. Lin Fan wasn't a competitive person. His heart was filled with righteousness, otherwise, he wouldn't have been beaten up at the subway station. Physique was only 30, so it was definitely too weak. If not, he wouldn't have such injuries. This was an insult to himself. Add points. He added them all to physique. Schwa schwa. Rage points decreased and his physique rose. Pata. Lin Fan pressed on the ground with one hand, and an aura swelled in his body. He used all his rage points. His physique instantly jumped from 30 to 85. He frowned. It seemed a little strong. His body felt like it was being ripped apart. However, this feeling was short. A few seconds later, the ripping feeling disappeared. He looked at the small support system. Physique. 85, Martial Path Grade 2, Internal Strength. 1 Heart Cultivation. Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture, Grade 1 Cultivation Technique. Vengeful Tiger Blade Technique. Reach the peak, Rage Points. 85-inch when physique was 30, I was grade 1. Now I am grade 2. If I am not wrong, when my physique reaches 90, I will be grade 3. Very simple. It is indeed very simple. Adding points is really easy. Lin Fan didn't know how to cultivate. Normal people would need several months to reach grade 1, and those who wanted to reach grade 2 would need 1 to 2 years. He was cultivating both internal and external cultivation. People who cultivated heart cultivation needed such a long time to raise their martial path realm. However, what he raised was physique. It was an external cultivation. The difficulty was much higher than cultivating heart cultivation, and many people gave up halfway. After all, the pain was unbearable, and one needed a strong will. Lin Fan didn't know about all this. With the existence of the small support system, adding points was his only joy. He was too lazy to do it. But after the 2 incidents of the assassins bullying him, he was very displeased. How could they bully him like that? Lin Fan stood up, took in a deep breath, and raised his arms. All the bones in his body were crackling. Physique has increased, and my strength has increased. Even my left eye doesn't hurt much, and the swelling has decreased. Lin Fan felt the changes in his body. He walked in front of the mirror and took a look. That was indeed the case. His left eye wasn't as swollen as before. Maybe this was the benefit of raising physique. His recovery ability increased. That was because he raised physique. His body was reformed. As a rich family young master, having injuries on my body is an insult. I want everyone to know that no one can leave any injuries on my body. Lin Fan took in a deep breath and was really confident. However, he pushed open the door and looked into the sky. The weather was not bad. It was time to head out. These were all small injuries, and they weren't much. The small support system was not bad. In the future, he had to be more hard-working when adding points. Chapter 28. Young Master, you're injured and can't go out. You need to rest well. Go Z's heart ached. It seemed like the young master was going out again. He had just met with an assassin last night, and he was going out in the morning. What if he met with danger on the way? The young master was obviously being watched. In U City, one wasn't afraid of people coming in the open, but they were afraid of people coming in the dark. There's nothing to rest for. Let's go out for a walk. It was impossible for him to stay at home. There was nothing. Who could bear to stay there like an idiot? Go Z wanted to say something, but he noticed that young master's left eye was much better than before. It was swollen and a little black, but now it was much lighter. How did he do it? Where is my cousin? Lin Fan asked. He didn't find him, so he needed someone to protect him when he went out. He had been a little worried recently. Liang Yongqi, that fool, had been beaten up twice. If he met him, he might really go all out against him. Of course, as a young master of a wealthy family, it was necessary for him to have a follower when he went out. As long as he called out to him, he would definitely do it without any warning. Young master, teacher went to find old master. Gozi said. Zhou Zhongmao saw that his cousin had met with assassins twice and was worried. The assassin was very strong. With his strength, he was not a match for him at all. He definitely had to tell his uncle. At this moment, Lin Fan was thinking about something else. Does Dad love me or not? You've already been attacked twice, yet you don't care? Just as Lin Fan was about to leave the Lin mansion, someone walked over from afar. Cousin! Zhou Zhongmao shouted. Uncle heard that you met an assassin, so he came to see you. Lin Fan turned around. It seemed a little fake. He heard that an assassin had come to visit him. If he wanted to come, he would have come a long time ago. Where are you going? Lin Wani asked. Beating up this unfilial son last night was quite satisfying. Since you like to sleep so much, then enjoy your father's love in your dreams. Father, I'm going out for a walk. Lin Fan replied. Lin Wani wanted to say something, but he realized that the kid's eyes seemed to have shrunk quite a bit. He remembered that he didn't go easy on her last night. She just wanted this kid to stay at home. Look at the current situation. However, it still couldn't stop this kid's determination to go out. What was the situation with the assassins last night? Lin Wani pretended to ask. As for the situation? He was the assassin, and no one knew better than him what had happened last night. Lin Fan was infuriated. Dad, it's not that I want to say this, but that assassin is an idiot. If there's a chance in the future, I'll definitely smash the head of that assassin. Beat him until he kneels down and calls me grandpa. Rage points plus 123. The moment he said this, rage points floated over. Lin Fan was stunned. Where did the rage points come from? Then, he looked at his father. There was nothing out of the ordinary. However, he had some thoughts in his mind. I'm scolding the assassin. Who's the one who's angry? Father, that assassin couldn't be you, right? Lin Fan asked. Lin Wani's expression didn't change as he reprimanded. How is that possible? Your father isn't that bored to the point of becoming an assassin. Don't cause trouble when you go out, otherwise I will deal with you when I return. Dad, that's not what you said yesterday. You said that I've grown up. Lin Fan was anxious. His father's attitude changed too quickly. When he was eating, he always said nice things. Why did he change after one night? Humph. Lin Wani scoffed coldly and left with his arms behind his back. I don't understand. Lin Fan shook his head helplessly. What happened? What he said now was totally different from last night. Forget it. He didn't want to think about it anymore. Go Z cousin, let's go out for a walk. Lin Fan walked out of the door. A good day was in the morning. Most beautiful things happened in the morning. Old master, young master went out again? Old Wu appeared at the side. Last night, old master attacked young master again. Scoff, let's not talk about other things, but his face is not bad. He still dares to go out. Lin Wani said, put on a show with me tonight. Old Wu was shocked and asked, young master knows? This unfilial kid isn't stupid. He still knows how to be suspicious. However, he is still too young. Lin Wani didn't expect that the unfilial kid would suspect him. Before the matter was completed, he wouldn't expose himself. You don't like to cultivate, right? I'm going to force you to stop cultivating. If you don't, then you will be beaten up until I step into the coffin. He actually said that he would beat me up until I call him grandfather. What a jerk. Old Wu smiled bitterly. Old master was going against young master. However, that was good. Only with motivation would he improve. Since he knew that young master had potential, it was a good thing to force him. City. Go Z, do you notice that today is a little different? Lin Fan said. Go Z looked and shook his head. Young master, there doesn't seem to be anything different. That's not right. Look for yourself. Everyone is looking at me. Some are even smiling. Did they find out about all the good things I've done recently? That should be the case. There must be no mistake. This must be it. Lin Fan didn't ask anymore. There was nothing worth discussing about this. He personally said the reason, so what else was there to think about? He passed by Drunk Fragrance Pavilion. When the manager saw young Master Lin, he ran out warmly and greeted him, asking whether or not he wanted tea. Why would he drink tea so early in the morning? He had to look around the city. Cousin, it is that fellow again. Zhou Zhongmao pulled Lin Fan's sleeves and pointed into the distance. Lin Fan looked out and didn't expect it to be third young Master Liang. In the distance, Liang Yongqi brought his guards and strolled around the city. He had tossed yesterday's matter to the back of his head. He couldn't offend the Su family, but he could hide from them. As for Su Gang, damn. In the future, as long as he had the ability, he would make that girl pay the price. Too arrogant. Suddenly, Liang Yongqi noticed Lin Fan. His expression changed. When enemies met, their eyes would turn red. He was taught a lesson by Lin Fan twice. The scenes were fresh in his mind and it was hard to forget. It could even be a shadow in his life. Liang Yongqi walked past Lin Fan and noticed that his left eye was swollen and a little black. His lips curled up, revealing a smile of disdain. Cousin. Lin Fan opened his mouth. Cousin opened his arms, a rock spreading its wings. He stepped in the air and kicked out with his right leg. Liang Yongqi's expression changed and he flew backward. Let's go. Lin Fan was stunned as he looked at his cousin and said the last three words. He didn't expect his cousin to be so impulsive. He didn't even say anything and just charged up. Okay, cousin. Zhou Zhongmao landed on the ground. When he heard his cousin say to leave, he didn't stop. Lin Fan was helpless. This really had nothing to do with him. He just said, "Cousin, let's go." He didn't want to beat him up. However, his cousin was too rash and only listened to the first half and didn't listen to the latter half. However, the latter half was appropriate. They did indeed have to leave. Liang Yongqi fell to the ground. Half of his face had a footprint, and blood spurted out from his nose. His dark and sunken face became vicious. He instantly got up and hollered towards Lin Fan, "Lin Fan, if you have balls then stand still. I want your life." Rage plus 333. The moment he said that, Lin Fan, who was about to leave, stopped and turned his head. Liang Yongqi's guards hurried over and helped young master up. "Leave, leave." Liang Yongqi hollered. The guards were wrong and helped Liang Yongqi to walk towards Lin Fan. Young master was beaten up, so he definitely couldn't let it go just like that. He had to take revenge. Liang Yongqi was shocked. Why was he walking towards that fellow? He panicked. Run, run. The guards started to run. Liang Yongqi wanted to spit out blood. These bunch of stupid guards, I told you to bring me and run. Very quickly, Liang Yongqi was brought in front of Lin Fan by the guards. Kung. The guards pulled out their blades and pointed them at Lin Fan. As long as young master gave the order, they would fight him. What do you want? Lin Fan asked. Liang Yongqi moved his throat. He knew that he wasn't his match. Even if he had these guards, it was useless. Lin Fan just dared to beat him up. It was useless to say vicious words. However, he had to say something. He was the Liang family third young master. Why did you hit me? Liang Yongqi asked. He even retreated to prevent himself from being hit again. Lin Fan was helpless. I hit the wrong person. Actually, I wanted to leave. Liang Yongqi seemed like he was finding an excuse to leave. Forget it. Let's go, let's go. He was furious in his heart. However, a straightforward person wouldn't suffer losses in the dark. You win, just you wait. Haze. Lin Fan shook his head. What a coward. Liang Yongqi, who didn't walk far, heard those words. He clenched his fist. Damn. Rage points plus 111. P.S. Thank you, Death of the Overlord Moto, 900 million delinquents, the two of you will be rewarded. Brother with numbers, why don't you change your name? Your numbers are so scary. Chapter 29. Too cowardly, I thought that he could fight me head-on. Lin Fan shook his head and sighed. He was disappointed in Liang Yongqi. As expected from the third young master, their statuses weren't on the same level. Cousin, I can crush that fellow with one finger. If he dares to jump, I will kill him. Zhou Zhongmao didn't care about Liang Yongqi at all. Cousin, I just said that we should leave, so why did you hit him? Lin Fan said. Cousin's temper had to change. He couldn't be too rash, and he had to let him finish. If he was impatient, then what would he do if something happened in the future? Zhou Zhongmao nodded his head. If it was someone else who said it, he wouldn't care, but it was different when his cousin said it. Suddenly, the surrounding crowd was in an uproar. Many people ran towards the city gate. Something happened. Qin family village and Zhang family village people are gathered outside the city, and they are going to fight with the aristocratic families. That can't be. Do they want to die? The commoners ran and discussed amongst themselves. This was a huge matter. If they dared to protest against the aristocratic families, they would definitely die. Let's go take a look. Lin Fan loved excitement. Although he didn't hear everything, he roughly understood that the Yuan and Liang families were going to rebel. How much pressure did they have to cause such a situation? However, it definitely had nothing to do with him. It was really terrifying. Outside the city, The city guards pulled out their blades and faced the villagers. The shining blades gave off a dark glow, and as long as someone dared to act rashly, they would be killed on the spot. Many commoners surrounded and looked. They whispered amongst themselves. They felt that these villagers were too unwise. How would they dare to argue with the aristocratic families with such a low status? "All of you scram, otherwise I will kill you," a middle-aged male hollered in rage. This was Yuan family's manager Lu. At this moment, his face was dark and sunken, and his eyes gave off a furious glow. These villagers came to protest, and that would cause him to lose face. It would also leave a bad impression in front of his master. Manager Lu was in charge of Qin Family Village. Last time, he brought people to Qin Family Village to kill 2 people to threaten them. He gave them 7 days to hand over their taxes. It seemed like it was useless, and it caused them to protest. "If you don't let us live, why should we be afraid of you killing us? You brought people to the Qin Family Village and killed a mother and son. Are you still human?" The Qin Family Village chief's son stood out and roared with bloodshot eyes. "Yes, that's right. If you can kill the people of Qin Village today, our Zhang Family Village will also suffer in the future. You and the Lin family are all aristocratic families in Yu City." They understand the Wang Family Village and know that it is a drought this year, so they exempted us from taxes. "Why can't you understand us?" Someone from Zhang Family Village shouted. They didn't have a good impression of the 3 aristocratic families of Yu City. But because of what happened in the Wang Family Village, they realized that the Lin family was not that hateful. They were reasonable and could understand them. If they were from the Wang Family Village, they would definitely work hard to pay the land tax next year. Steward Lu's face was cold. "What does the Lin family have to do with my Yuan family?" That was the Lin family's young master being foolish. "If you can't pay this year's farm tax, then you don't have to pay it in the future. How dare you question the aristocratic families and offend your superiors? You have the heart to rebel. Kill them." Once the order was given, the city guards would not show any mercy. To Steward Lu, if he killed these people, there would be people to take their place. There were many commoners and he didn't lack them. Uproar. The people from Qin Family Village and Zhang Family Village didn't expect the Yuan family steward Lu to be so vicious. He didn't interact with them at all. He directly gave the order to kill. However, they weren't afraid. They held hands and puffed out their chests, facing him fearlessly. Instantly, a voice spread out. "Damn, I came out to play and someone says that I am stupid. Who said that? Who is so bold?" Lin Fan wanted to hold a fan and come out elegantly. However, he didn't have a fan, so he had no choice. He could only walk out with his arms behind his back. When Steward Lu heard the voice, he frowned. When he saw who it was, he had a bad feeling. When Qin Family Village and Zhang Family Village saw him, they were a little restless. "Young Master Lin, hello." The voice was really loud. Lin Fan nodded his head and replied. In the past, the villagers definitely wouldn't have any good feelings towards Lin Fan. After all, they were all birds of a feather. However, the Wang family village gave them hope. Any Lin family young master was different from those aristocratic families. "Go Zi," someone scolded young master. "Who was it?" Lin Fan asked. Go Zi said, "Young master, Yuan family steward Lu scolded young master." Shua. Lin Fan's eyes locked onto Steward Lu. "You bastard, you scolded me?" Lin. Steward Lu cupped his fist. He had spoken wrongly and didn't expect Lin Fan to hear it. Cousin, what is the matter?" Zhou Zhongmao asked. He listened to his cousin's words and patiently listened to him. However, his cousin only said the word cousin and didn't continue. He didn't know what he was going to do. "What are you doing?" "Slap him," Lin Fan said. "Okay." Zhou Zhongmao stared at Steward Lu and then stepped on the ground. With a ping, he turned into a shooting star and struck towards him. Steward Lu was shocked and hollered in rage. I am from the Yuan family, you dare, that was what he said. However, he didn't dare to be careless. He knew Zhou Zhongmao's strength better than anyone else. Very strong. At that moment, Zhou Zhongmao appeared in front of Steward Lu. He grabbed his wrists and twisted them. With a kacha, his arms hung down. Then, he kicked his opponent's knee. There was another kacha sound. Steward Lu cried out in a tragic manner. Scoff, with your strength, you dare to attack me. Let me tell you, this is the outcome of scolding my cousin. I didn't kill you, so I let you off. Zhou Zhongmao's thick palm flung, and with a paw, Steward Lu was smacked to the side. Large amounts of fresh blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. He then returned to Lin Fan's side. Cousin, it is okay, right? Lin Fan nodded. Not bad, not bad. Cousin, you are really good. The entire place was silent. No one expected that Lin Fan would ask someone to attack. The servants who followed Steward Lu here crawled and rolled away quietly. No one noticed. At that moment, Steward Lu knelt on the ground, his arms hung down. He raised his head and looked at Lin Fan in rage. Young Master Lin, you care too much. This is the Yuan family's matter. Rage plus 66. Lin Fan smiled. You dared to scold me. It is already good that I didn't kill you. Are you a scum? Are you a killing maniac? You want to wash people with blood. Are you going to clean the road or are you going to lick it clean? Rage plus 88. Steward Lu looked a little pitiful. However, he didn't back down. This is my Yuan family's matter. What does it have to do with you? If your Lin family wants to be a good person, that is your problem. The Qin family village's land belongs to the Yuan family, so they should pay the taxes. Or does your Lin family want to stretch their hands over to the Yuan family? Steward Lu said fiercely. It didn't matter if he was beaten up, but the master behind him would support him. So what if he was the Lin family young master? He didn't fear anything. Lin Fan said to Go Zi. He didn't bother to hide his voice. In any case, he intentionally let the other party hear him. Old Master Yuan looked at Lin Fan. Young Master Lin, didn't your father tell you to stop causing trouble? You are just doing nothing every day. In the future, the Lin family will be destroyed in your hands. Lin Fan smiled and said, Whether I destroy it or not, that's none of your business. It's my business. However, old Master Yuan said that if we can't pay the tax, then we shouldn't plant anymore. I am really interested in this question. Then, he looked at the villagers. All of you heard it. Old Master Yuan said that if we can't pay the taxes, then don't plant his land. However, my family has a lot of land and is a big landlord. Bugs are about to appear in the fields, so why don't you all come to my house to farm? Lin Fan didn't understand. What did they want to do with the empty land? Why were they so stingy? The villagers didn't dare to reply. Old Master Yuan was a shadow in their hearts. Don't be afraid, Old Master Yuan won't stoop to your level. Didn't I say that even if you don't farm, there are plenty of people? I don't lack farmers, but I do. Lin Fan said. The villagers were tempted. They definitely wanted to head to young Master Lin's side. Lin Fan, you are too much. Yuan Tianchu was furious. Did this fellow really like to go against him? Why didn't he see it in the past? How am I too much? I didn't hit you, I didn't scold you, and I didn't force you. Why do you like to dream so much? Lin Fan said. Rage plus 99. Yuan Tianchu stared at Lin Fan coldly. Zhou Zhongmao blocked in front of his cousin and looked warily at them. As long as they dared to attack, he would fight them to the death. However, this was Yu City. Such a thing shouldn't happen. Lin Fan was lazy to argue with them. Okay, I won't argue with you. There is nothing to talk about. Listen up, if you are willing to come to my house to farm, then stand here. Don't worry, I will ensure your safety. If any of you die for no reason, I will know who did it. If it isn't the Yuan family, then it is the Liang family. I will take revenge for you. The two families looked at one another. Who knew who was the first to shout? Anyway, they won't let us live, so what do we have to be afraid of? Let's follow young Master Lin. Voila! Someone took the lead and stood by Lin Fan's side. Rage plus 111. Rage plus 66. Yuan Tianchu was furious. With a quang dang, he pulled out his sword and hollered, "You bastards, you dare to betray the Yuan family. I will kill all of you." The sword was really quick, and the sword light shone. To the villagers, how could they block it? Pung! Just at that moment, Zhou Zhongmao appeared in front of Yuan Tianchu and kicked him. Yuan Tianchu was shocked, blocking with his sword. The kick caused the sword body to cave in, and terrifying internal strength struck. With a crack, the sword broke, and he flew backward. "You are asking to die." Zhou Zhongmao landed on the ground and hollered in rage. In the entire Yu city, apart from cousin, he dared to beat up anyone in the younger generation. Lin Fan shook his head. "You are angry from embarrassment, pulling out your sword to kill just because you don't agree with him. Second brother Yuan, your tolerance is really pitiful." Yuan Tianchu supported himself with one hand and raised his head to look at Zhou Zhongmao. That disdainful gaze made him feel really annoyed. It was like he was being underestimated. Zhou Zhongmao pouted. "What are you looking at? I already went easy on him. Otherwise, do you think that is all?" His words meant that he didn't care about Yuan Tianchu at all. Old Su nodded. "This kid is not bad. Even in Zhou City, he can be in the top 5. Su Gang replied. "He is indeed not bad, but he is far from me. I am in the top 3 in Zhou City." Old Su sighed. "Little miss, stop joking. Your ranking was given to you by someone else. If you really fought, you wouldn't even be able to enter the top 50. Kid Lin, are you really going to go against my Yuan family?" Old Master Yuan was furious. He clenched his fists like he wanted to attack. Lin Fan took a look and felt really depressed. "I notice that your Yuan family people are all delusional. You don't want it, but I do. I am willing. I didn't steal, so how is that going against you? Or is it that you have long been annoyed with my Lin family and are purposely causing trouble to go against us? If that is the case, then let's do it today. I will call people and we will fight here." 7th Miss Su clapped her hands. Good, things are going to get interesting." Rage points plus 222. Old Master Yuan was about to explode from rage from this Lin family kid. "Do you really think I don't dare to touch you?" Lin Fan opened his arms and didn't fear anything. "If you don't touch me, then you are my grandson." Rage points plus 666. P.S. Thank you, my luck. Boss, please reward me. Thank you. Chapter 31. Young Master, be careful. The Yuan family head isn't weak. Go Zi reminded. Young Master had caused a huge ruckus. He even provoked the Yuan family head. If they really fought, the outcome would be a little complicated. Lin Fan frowned and looked at the Yuan family head who was about to explode. He asked softly, "Can my cousin protect him?" "No." Go Zi replied. He didn't know how strong the Yuan family head was, but he knew that he was a little strong. Lin Fan looked at the small support system. Rage points, 2,281. This accumulation was really quick. He counted with his fingers. Based on the current rate, it wouldn't take long for him to become an expert. He couldn't ask to die now. Even if he didn't dare to kill him, what if he failed? He wouldn't even have a place to cry. Old Su looked at Lin Fan. Lin Wanni's son really had balls. At the same time, he wanted to see what the Yuan family head was going to do. The Yuan family head and Lin Fan exchanged glances. Especially the Yuan family head, whose expression was extremely ugly. He really wanted to slap Lin Fan to death. Okay, I want to see what the outcome will be after I touch you. Old Master Yuan chided. He opened his fingers and grabbed towards Lin Fan. He really attacked. This was an expert. Old Master Yuan's hand was like an illusion. Looking at it with the naked eye, one couldn't see where it was, and it was tough to determine the exact angle. He really dared to hit him. Lin Fan was stunned. This was different from what he thought. He thought that he was the young master of a rich family in U City, and that his father wasn't weak either. The three families would at most argue, but who knew that this old fellow would really attack? Suddenly, a wind blew. Cousin, don't be afraid. I am here. Zhou Zhongmao instantly dashed out. His body gave off a thick aura as he hollered, "If you want to touch my cousin, you have to step over my dead body." Pung! Cousin's fist was covered in a black mist as he clashed with him. A low explosion spread out. With the two of them as the center, a thick dust cloud rose up. Zhou Zhongmao let out a low roar. His shirt was torn to shreds, and all the muscles on his body bulged up. It was as if he was suddenly full of energy. Demon Ape Fist. Vaguely, a ferocious and terrifying ancient demonic ape appeared behind him. Go to hell. Zhou Zhongmao's eyes changed and turned red. He clenched his fists and descended from above like a giant mountain pressing down on Old Master Yuan. Old Su exclaimed. This sturdy and strong-looking blockhead was a martial arts prodigy. The demonic ape fist was a top-notch fist technique. Lin Wani was willing to spend it. It seemed like he was nurturing this blockhead. Perhaps he knew that his son wasn't capable and wanted to nurture an expert for his son. Rumble! Old Master Yuan dodged and Zhou Zhongmao's fists landed on the ground. The ground cracked and spiderweb-like cracks appeared. Oh my God, cousin is too strong! Lin Fan exclaimed. I didn't expect him to be so fierce. I didn't see it usually. Suddenly, the situation had changed. Old Master Yuan might look weak, but he didn't panic in the face of danger and wasn't affected at all. Only to see Old Master Yuan step on Zhou Zhongmao's head and press down. Bang! Half of Zhou Zhongmao's body was pressed into the ground. Shortly after, cousin smacked the ground with his palms, causing it to shake. He bounced up and hollered. His aura became stronger as he swept with one leg. Old Master Yuan didn't panic, his palm smacking onto Zhou Zhongmao's leg. His body moved forwards, forming an afterimage as he smacked onto Zhou Zhongmao's stomach. Rumble! Zhou Zhongmao frowned. His throat moved and blood was about to spurt out. However, he suppressed it and swallowed it back. He found a chance. Old Master Yuan slapped out several times, and all of them landed on Zhou Zhongmao's body. Hong Long. Zhou Zhongmao's aura weakened and he flew backward. He barely grabbed onto the ground and slid dozens of meters. He couldn't take it and spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Cousin, are you okay? Lin Fan helped Zhou Zhongmao up. When he saw him spit out blood, his heart hurt. He stared right at him. You bastard, if anything happens to my cousin, I will wipe out your entire family. Cousin, I am okay, I can still fight. Go Z, bring cousin back, I will stop them. Zhou Zhongmao wiped off the blood at the corner of his mouth and stared right at him. Old Master Yuan's martial path realm was higher than his. It wasn't embarrassing to lose. However, he couldn't lose now. He had to let his cousin leave safely. Cousin, don't say any more. Let me do it. Lin Fan was furious. Although Zhou Zhongmao was his cousin, he had seen how Zhou Zhongmao had treated him these few days. He had nothing to say about his cousin. However, he didn't do his job well as a cousin. Old Master Yuan scoffed coldly. You are so young and have no cultivation, yet you dare to be arrogant outside. You won't even know how you die. Not far away, Yuan Tianchu's face was full of smiles, and he seemed to be gloating. Cousin, where are you going? Zhou Zhongmao panicked. Lin Fan turned his head. Cousin will take revenge for you. The moment he said that, he directly walked towards Old Master Yuan. As he walked, he scolded. F*** you. Come on, kill me if you have balls. A cold glow flashed in old Master Yuan's eyes. I will help you. After he said that, he struck towards Lin Fan. Lin Fan didn't fear anything and walked towards him. And old Master Yuan's expression changed. This kid actually didn't dodge. When his palm was about to touch Lin Fan, he stopped. It wasn't that he didn't want to, but that he didn't dare. Lin Fan stood in front of old Master Yuan. Come on, didn't you say that you wanted to kill me? Attack. Let me tell you, if I die, no one from the Yuan family will be able to live. Come on. Pa-ta. Lin Fan grabbed old Master Yuan's hand and smacked it on his chest. Attack. Why? Are you afraid or don't dare? F*** you. I am standing in front of you. If you have balls, then attack. Old Master Yuan was stunned by Lin Fan's ferocious look. Was he really not afraid to die? Kid, don't force me. Old Master Yuan hollered in rage. Lin Fan started scolding and his saliva splattered all over the place. I'm forcing you right now. You better F*** king attack me. Don't make me look down on you, you idiot. Rage points increased. The surrounding people were all shocked by the scene before them. Lin family young master pointed at old Master Yuan's nose and scolded without fear of death. If they hadn't personally witnessed it, they wouldn't dare to believe it. Moreover, old Master Yuan really didn't dare to attack. Old Master Yuan looked into the distance. There were two people standing in the building, looking at the situation. Cold sweat seeped out of his forehead. Building. Old Master, young master is courageous. Old Wu said. This dumb kid. Lin Wani sighed and then his tone changed. If Yuan bastard dares to move, I will instantly kill him. Old Master, you have already returned what you should. You have returned all the help that Yuan family and Liang family's previous family heads gave you. Why do you still let them do what they want? Old Wu couldn't understand. Let's not talk about it. Let's go take a look at this kid. If this continues, the Yuan family will have no face to leave. Let's end it here. Lin Wani said. At that moment, Lin Fan scolded old Master Yuan in rage. Are you done? Lin Wani and old Wu appeared. The originally oppressive atmosphere dissipated in an instant. Chapter 32. Lin Fan turned his head and noticed that it was his father. It was like his support had arrived. He exclaimed. He was a little afraid. Father, you've finally come. I was almost killed by this old thing. If it wasn't for cousin protecting me, I'm afraid that I wouldn't be able to see you again. When Lin Fan was complaining, he looked really pitiful. He then pulled Lin Wani. Father, look, cousin was beaten up so badly that he spat out blood. My heart hurts so much. Lin Wani glared at him. All right, shut up. Lin Fan rolled his eyes. He then walked to his cousin's side. Cousin, do you think I am strong? Lin Fan smiled and asked. Strong, cousin is just too amazing. Zhou Zhongmao replied. His injuries weren't heavy, but they weren't light either. He spat out another mouthful of fresh blood. Cousin, I am fine. I just need to rest for a period of time. These injuries can't do much to me. Old Wu passed a pill. Eat it and your injuries will turn for the better. Lin Fan took it and quickly stuffed it into his cousin's mouth. He recognized this cousin. He would do so for the rest of his life. He didn't care about his own safety to protect himself. How many people could do that? Brother Lin, this matter. Old Master Yuan wanted to explain this matter. After all, it wasn't his fault. Unfortunately, Lin Wani didn't give him the chance. Okay, you shut up too. This matter is over. I don't want to pursue it and I don't want to ask about it. Lin Wani's tone towards the Yuan and Liang family was usually really good. Now that his attitude had changed, old Master Yuan found it hard to adapt. He wanted to say something. However, Lin Wani's gaze made old Master Yuan feel a bit of fear. Let's go. Old Master Yuan waved his hands and brought his men away. He noticed that Lin Wani's gaze was too terrifying, totally different from usual. Little miss, we should head back, Old Su said. Su Gang waved her hands. There is no rush. Let's take a look. It was just too lively just now. They passed by U City and casually came over to take a look. Lin Wani nodded towards Old Su and Seventh Miss as a form of greeting. He had a deep impression of Old Su. This wasn't the first time they met. He then walked in front of Lin Fan. Unfilial kid, do you know that if you weren't in U City but outside, you would have died? Father, aren't we still in U City and not outside? Lin Fan replied. Lin Wani was lazy. I will teach you a lesson when I return. Rage plus 88. To his father, this little bit of anger was not considered to be very angry. He was probably just a little resentful. Lin Fan. Cousin, have a good rest. Lin Fan sat at the side of the bed. His cousin's face slowly turned red. The effects of the pill were good. Doctor, is my cousin okay? Lin said. Lin Fan, he there, he had not. Lin, he. However, Zhou Zhongmao's body was strong and his inner force was dense. Furthermore, he had swallowed medicinal pills, so his injuries recovered very quickly. Cousin, don't worry. I'll be fine. I'll chew on a few ginsengs later and absorb the essence within them. I'll be full of vigor again, said Zhou Zhongmao with a smile. He seemed to have thought of something. Cousin, it's better if you don't go out these few days, in case there's no one to protect you if you encounter danger. Lin Fan patted Zhou Zhongmao's shoulder. Cousin, don't say too much. I will remember this. I will definitely take revenge for you. He just wanted to be a quiet young master. He wanted to stir up some trouble while he was at it. But now he realized that even if he caused trouble in his own territory, he would still encounter trouble. This was intolerable. He had the small support system with him. Everything was forced by others. He didn't want to either. Cousin, it doesn't matter if you report it or not. Safety is the most important thing. Zhou Zhongmao didn't take this matter to heart. Compared to when he was younger, this injury was nothing. Lin Fan patted his cousin's shoulder and didn't say much. His cousin didn't take it to heart, but he did. Go find Manager Chen. Qin Family Village and Zhang Family Village belong to the Lin family and let him make arrangements. I will fight them to the end. Lin Fan seemed to have made up his mind. Yes, young master. Lin Fan stayed here and chatted with his cousin for a while. When it came to what happened when he was younger, he didn't know anything. He only heard his cousin talk about it. When he talked about happiness, his cousin would laugh in a silly manner. However, when his cousin said something, Lin Fan found it weird. When he was young, to protect his cousin, his left arm was pierced by a tree branch. If that was the case, then his soul had transmigrated. Why do I feel like I am dumb? My hair is short, but this body's hair is long. Oh my God. You only reacted now, how dumb. Lin Fan was in deep thought. He was shocked by his dumb brain. Cousin, what happened to you? Zhou Zhongmao asked. Nothing, I was thinking about something. That night, Lin Fan returned to the back courtyard. He didn't care about the assassin and was thinking about something else. He looked at the small support system. Physique. 85, Martial Path Grade 2, Internal Strength. 1 Heart Cultivation. Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture, Grade 1 Cultivation Technique. Vengeful Tiger Blade Technique. Reach the peak, Rage Points. 4,922. In the end, Old Yuan gave him many rage points. Cousin's cultivation is mainly external cultivation, but based on today's situation, external cultivation has its drawbacks. Lin Fan thought about it for a moment. He had no interest in cultivation at all. His was like adding points to it. It was like playing a game. When one walked to the extreme, one would become an expert. If he walked both paths, it wasn't impossible. It was just adding points. How difficult could it be? Be it internal cultivation or external cultivation, they both had their strengths and were on the same level. When one cultivated to a high realm, there would be unbelievable changes. He consumed 500 rage points. He directly raised his physique to 90. Just as he had expected, the martial path realm behind physique had become the third stage of the martial path. Every muscle of his had an aura flowing within it. His physique and physical body strengthened once more. Heart cultivation Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture was still grade 1, and he was unable to add points to raise it. Based on his guesses, it had to do with internal strength. Internal strength was too low, so he was unable to raise it at all. He sat cross-legged on the bed, closed his eyes, and sensed the subtle internal strength in his body. I found it. A thread of internal strength circled in his body. It was really thin and weak, and could even be ignored. He guided it. The originally dormant internal strength moved. Following the guidance, it slowly swam about in his body. Not long later, with a paw sound, the thread of internal strength dissipated and returned to its original spot, forming a thread of internal strength once more. This was because his internal strength was too weak. He was unable to support it at all. At points, internal strength started to jump from 1. It was the same as raising physique. 100 rage points and 1 point of internal strength. While adding points, he felt the changes in the internal strength in his body. Originally, under his guidance, the internal strength flowed really slowly, as slow as a snail. However, as he continued to add points, the internal strength in his body became stronger and stronger. The internal energy in his body was growing stronger and stronger as it flowed through his body at an increasing speed. It was like it was several times faster. Normal people needed months or even years to cultivate. However, after adding points, it was instantaneous. Lin Fan opened his eyes and muttered to himself, "You guys forced me to do this. I just wanted to be a happy rich young master, but you guys didn't give me the chance. I can only say, sorry, I'm going to use hacks." Outside, under the night sky, 2 people stood in the distance, looking at everything that happened in the room. "Old master, there is no need to act anymore," Old Wu said. Lin Wani said expressionlessly, "Yes, there is no need to act today. Come back tomorrow. I am his motivation. If he can make me yield to him in the room, then he will have really grown up. P.S. I just went on a long trip yesterday and I'm back today. That's how fast I am." Chapter 33. It really is simple. He opened his eyes. The internal strength in his body changed and became much stronger. He guided the internal strength in his body to his hand. His hands were wrapped in a thin layer of purple light. This is internal strength. Lin Fan raised his hands, and the light wrapped around his palms was really magical. He then grabbed towards the candle on the table. Cousin relied on internal strength to crush things in the air last time. However, after he did that, the candle didn't move at all. Scary, is this the reason why internal strength isn't strong enough? Lin Fan shook his head and looked at the small support system. Physique. 90, Martial Path Grade 3, Internal Strength. 30, Martial Path Grade 1, Heart Cultivation. Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture, Grade 1, Cultivation Technique. Vengeful Tiger Blade Technique. Reach the peak, Rage Points. 1322-inch Raising my inner strength to 30 points is the first stage of the martial path. Since my physique has reached the third stage of the martial path, then I can be considered a dual cultivator. Lin Fan thought about it for a moment. Initially, he wanted to improve his physique, but later on, he realized that the use of inner force seemed to be quite powerful. This gave him a headache. He didn't want to give up on either side. Then, he could only cultivate together. Anyways, he was a rich family young master and didn't need to worry about food and clothing. His days were just so relaxing. Occasionally he would fight with others, and that was a huge joy. If he wasn't forced by others, he wouldn't have cheated to cultivate. Not bad, this is a good start. External martial path grade 3, internal martial path grade 1. It should be no problem for me to defeat a grade 4. It seemed like he could try when he had time. Sleep. He still had 1,000 rage points, so he didn't add them. When he was bored, he would add them. He laid on the bed and fell asleep. Outside, Lin Wani was about to leave, but when he saw Lin Fan fall asleep after cultivating for a short while, he stopped. His eyes were filled with flames. It seemed like he praised him for nothing. In the end, it was still the same. Old master, this. Old Wu felt really awkward. Young master, why didn't he hold on a little longer, at least let old master leave? Don't go, act tonight. Lin Wani said strictly. Old Wu replied, yes, old master. Towards this, old Wu could only say that young master was helpless, but old master was doing this for his own good. Subsequently, old man Wu put on his mask, tapped his heels lightly in the air, and floated into the courtyard. Not long after, cries of surprise could be heard. Audacious assassin, you still dare to come? You've gone too far. Help! There's an assassin! Shouts could be heard, but they came to an abrupt stop in an instant. Young master. Go Zi was cultivating the vengeful tiger blade technique in the back forest. When he heard young master's shout, he rushed over with his blade. Young master, don't be afraid, I am here. The assassin's attacks were swift. Lin Fan blocked them and kicked a few times from time to time. Lin Fan looked at Go Zi holding the blade and hollered, don't come over. Go Zi didn't have strength, so the assassin couldn't do much to him. However, Go Zi was different. He didn't have much strength, so facing the assassin, he might even be instantly killed. If you want to hurt my young master, you'll have to step over my dead body. Go Zi hollered in rage. He held the blade with both hands and slashed at the assassin without any fear of death. At the same time he said, young master, you leave first. I will block him. Go Zi hadn't trained for long, so he didn't have much strength. To people with some strength, his body was filled with weaknesses. With a blade in hand, he was just slightly stronger than normal people. Old Wu nodded his head. This servant was not bad. When master faced danger, he charged over without fear of death. He was loyal and could stay by young master's side. He pointed in the air, and with a purring, the air was compressed and hit Go Zi. With a putong sound, Go Zi's pupils constricted and he fell to the ground. Don't panic, he didn't die. He just fainted. You are my target. The assassin's voice was really young, and old Wu did that on purpose. Young master suspected that old master was the assassin, and his suspicions were correct. This was why he wanted to clear old master's name. He kept young master in the dark. Lin Fan heaved a sigh of relief. He flipped his body and rolled to Go Zi's side. He felt his pulse, and it was still beating. He then picked up the blade and said warily, "Who are you?" Old Wu didn't say much as the more he spoke, the more mistakes he made. He stepped forwards, leaving a deep footprint on the ground. He was really quick as he struck towards Lin Fan. Damn, where did the Lin family people go? There is an assassin. Lin Fan hollered. There were so many people in the day, but now there wasn't even a single person. The assassin came as he pleased, and it was like he was in his back garden. Lin Fan flipped and dodged it. He held the blade with one hand and grabbed the chance to slash towards the assassin. Tiger intent. He raised the vengeful tiger blade technique to reach the peak realm, and its strength was extraordinary. Even though this saber technique was very ordinary, any cultivation technique that was cultivated to an extremely high level would be able to unleash an extraordinary might. Instantly, when Lin Fan slashed out with his saber, a ferocious black tiger materialized on the blade. The internal strength in his body boiled and gathered on the blade. If he didn't have internal strength, he wouldn't be able to slash out such a strong blade. Old Wu was shocked. Good job. As expected, young master didn't disappoint him. Old master was right. Only under pressure would the young master be able to display his astonishing potential. If he didn't find out by chance, he definitely wouldn't have expected young master to have such strength. The thickness of internal strength has reached martial path grade 1, not bad. Old Wu was really happy. He didn't dodge and took young master's blade head-on. He reached out, opened his fingers, and used his body to take it head-on. Pung! A very heavy force came crashing down. You assassin are just too arrogant. If you have balls, then come in the day. Why do you come so late at night? Are you even giving me a chance to sleep? Lin Fan was furious, slashing out the unhappiness in his heart. Are you even giving me a chance to sleep? Old Wu took a step back, and a shocked expression appeared under his mask. He was careless. He underestimated young master. He didn't expect young master's strength to be so heavy. Was he a dual cultivator? No. Young master didn't cultivate external cultivation techniques, so how could his body raise to such a level? He was at least martial path grade 3. There were 2 paths to take in the martial Dao. One was external cultivation. The other was internal cultivation. Very few people cultivated both internally and externally. It wasn't that it was impossible, but that they had limited energy. Even those who were extremely talented rarely practiced both internal and external cultivation. Most of the time, they practiced internal cultivation. Young master was not bad. His internal cultivation reached martial path grade 1. That slash probably consumed a large portion of his internal strength. Normal grade 2 people would have been badly injured. Your internal strength shouldn't be enough to slash out like that, right? Old Wu said. Lin Fan didn't feel tired at all. What lack of internal strength? He just felt that his body was filled with internal strength. That slash just now was a normal slash. His internal strength didn't decrease at all. Lin Fan jumped up and raised the blade in his hand. He hollered in rage and slashed down. Tiger intent. Pung. Tiger intent. Pung. Lin Fan swung the saber in his hand and slashed at the assassin. One by one, the black tigers roared ferociously. I will kill you, bastard! He didn't feel tired at all. Instead, his blade technique became smoother and smoother. How is that possible? Old Wu was shocked. Young master had slashed out dozens of times. How could his internal strength support that? Young master's internal strength cultivation was only at martial path grade 1. Lin Wani wanted to see how this unfilial kid would be beaten up until he cried for his parents. But now, his expression was really serious. His eyes shone brightly. The unfilial kid had surprised him. Good. If Lin Fan knew that his father was watching from afar and even praised him, he would definitely exclaim that there was such a father. Lack of sleep would affect the kidneys. P.S. Thank you, the 100th guild leader, the leader of a big shot. This is the 3rd one. You're a very fierce brother. P.S. My book will just be on the back page for a while. Write quietly and don't scold me in the comment. I will delete posts that scold me and waste some time. Let's be friendly and harmonious, hee hee. Chapter 34. This young master seems to be able to defeat him. After exchanging dozens of blows, the other party was suppressed by his attack. Originally, he wanted to take the opportunity to carry Guzi and run out quickly to call for help. However, as he fought, he realized that he could win. Old Wu was feeding young master moves. The young master's strength was not bad, although it wasn't considered much among the younger generation. However, he was much more powerful than the 3 sons of the Yuan clan. Suddenly, Lin Fan realized that something was wrong. The assassin's speed became faster, and the feeling he gave off also became more mysterious. Whoosh! An afterimage flashed past. Lin Fan took a step back and dodged. The assassin's palm was as sharp as a knife, slashing across his neck. He had never felt so close to death. If he had been a step slower, he would have died. That's right. If you're any slower, you'll die, the assassin said. Lin Fan started cursing in his heart. Oh my God, who did I offend to be targeted by them all day long? They don't even give me a chance to live. This was the Lin family. Didn't they say that his father was very powerful? After fighting with the assassin to such an extent, why hadn't his father realized it? Something was wrong. Old Wu saw that the young master was deep in thought, like he was thinking about something. He was a little surprised. Did the young master discover something? Perhaps it was time for master to appear. If this went on, the young master might really discover a problem that was not worth pondering over. Who dares to be so arrogant in the Lin family? You are courting death. A voice rang out from the distance. Lin Wani stepped through the air. When Lin Fan saw who it was, he was delighted and shouted, "Father, come and save me! Your son is about to be killed by this assassin." The assassin retreated, and his body stopped in the air. With a bang, he turned into a cloud of black mist and dissipated in the air. After he left, a voice could be heard. "I'll come again." Lin Wani landed beside Lin Fan. He frowned and said solemnly, "I didn't expect him to run so quickly. Dad, what should I do in the future? If he were to come and assassinate me all the time, I won't be able to take it." Lin Fan heaved a sigh of relief when he saw that his father was here. "It seemed like it really wasn't my father." "No, relax my ass. If it wasn't for my father, I would have died." He had always suspected that this assassin was his father in disguise. But looking at the current situation, that was clearly not the case. Was he wrong? If you don't want to be assassinated, then become stronger. But don't worry, nothing will happen to you in the Lin Manor. He is much stronger than you, but he didn't kill you. It seems like it is him. Lin Wani thought about it. "Father, who is he?" Lin Fan asked. Lin Wani said, "This has to start from a dozen years ago." Back then, Lin Fan listened carefully. He wanted to know who it was. Then, he opened his mouth and said with a dumbfounded expression, "Father, so what you mean is that you used to beat him up a dozen years ago. Now that he is back, he is staring at me?" Lin Fan said, "What was going on? What does that have to do with me? If he wanted to find someone, he should find the person in question. This young master doesn't know anything, and I've taken the blame for my father for no reason. If this matter were to spread out, everyone would sympathize with him. It is only right and proper for a son to repay his father's debts. You unfilial son, you have caused so much trouble during this period of time. You should bear some of it for your father. Tomorrow, I will have the guards stand guard outside the courtyard. Go back to sleep." As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Wani immediately left. Lin Fan was left alone in the night sky. Son to repay father's debts? Was there such a thing? He then walked beside Go Zi, who was still unconscious. "Haze, Go Zi, I have seen through you. In the future, only I can bully you. If others bully you, I will slice off their heads." He carried Go Zi and sent him into the house. If Go Zi was conscious, he would definitely cry. Young master personally carried him back. What kind of glory was that? Other young masters would probably just let him lie outside and wait for him to wake up before returning to his room. Reading room. Old master, young master really hid his strength deeply. If not for us probing, we probably wouldn't have known. Old Wu changed out of his assassin attire. Young master's strength exceeded his expectations. Scoff, external cultivation grade 3, internal cultivation grade 1, you are still far from it. Lin Wani said. Old Wu smiled. Old master was happy deep down, but the words that came out of his mouth were a huge blow. However, he knew that old master was happier than anyone else. Right, old master, the servant beside young master is not bad. He is loyal to young master and didn't retreat when he faced danger. He can be developed. Old Wu said. Do as you see fit. Lin Wani said. Old Wu smiled. It seems like I will be busy every night. Morning. Lin Fan opened his eyes and shouted, Go Z. Not long later. Go Z carried a wash basin in. Young master, last night. It is okay, don't think about what happened last night. Lin Fan waved his hands. He had to think about how to deal with this assassin. After all, the assassin couldn't just appear at night, right? He couldn't even let him sleep. After washing up, Lin Fan brought Go Z to see his cousin. The moment he got there, he saw his cousin standing in the courtyard with his eyes closed. As he breathed in and out, turbid air seeped out from his nose and mouth. When he heard footsteps, Zhou Zhongmao opened his eyes. Cousin? Cousin, are your injuries healed? Lin Fan asked. Zhou Zhongmao smiled. Yes, I consumed 300-year-old ginseng yesterday and absorbed the essence to heal my injuries. I am already healed. Amazing, his recovery is really domineering. Lin Fan felt that his cousin was really strong. His injuries looked a little heavy, but who knew that he would recover in one night? It seemed like his cultivation technique was really amazing. Cousin, where are we going today? Zhou Zhongmao was willing to stay with his cousin and hand over the guard training to others. To be able to stay by his cousin's side was the happiest thing in his life. I don't know, let's head out first. Last night, I was frightened and the assassin came to find me. Luckily, I am a little strong and didn't let him succeed. Let's not talk about it. Let's go out and take a look. Lin Fan didn't want to say anything more. To be honest, he had suspected that the assassin was someone sent by his father from the very beginning. If not, why would an assassin not kill him and just like to beat him up? After his father acknowledged him last night, he understood that he had conflicts with his father. He couldn't beat the old, so he came to bully the young. Scum. When he was prepared to leave the manor, he saw Manager Chun carrying a thick book out. He was going to register for Qin Family Village and Zhang Family Village. Recently, many things had happened. He gave out a lot of farmland. His actions that infuriated the Yuan and Liang family actually didn't cause any trouble for him. From the looks of it, his family was really amazing. There were many stalls by the side of the road selling all sorts of breakfasts that looked really delicious. However, Lin Fan noticed that when he ate, the commoners didn't ask for money. This was because of his reputation. He had a good reputation. However, as the young master of a rich family, how could he not pay to eat? If this spread out, he would lose all his face. He directly asked Go Z to pay. Lin Fan swaggered on the road. The commoners around looked at Lin Fan. They all saw what happened yesterday. Lin family young master and the Yuan family head had a conflict outside the city. If they didn't personally witness it, they wouldn't dare to believe it. Chapter 35. Just as Lin Fan and the others were strolling around, something happened in front of them. A figure flew out of one of the shop. With a pung. Aya, it hurts. That person laid on the ground, one hand touching his butt as he grumbled. At that moment, a few helpers surged out from the shop. They punched and kicked the person on the ground. They then raged, "If you dare to cause trouble again, I will break your hand." After saying that, they hurried back into the shop. This was a gambling den. Those people were the helpers of the gambling den. It was obvious that this person caused trouble and was beaten up. The person who was beaten up was perfectly fine. He got up and patted his butt. "You still dare to threaten me? I didn't want to stoop to your level." The commoners around were used to such things. Who knew how many such things happened every day? Many people walked into the gambling den with bright faces, but in the end they walked out in a daze. "Cousin, this fellow isn't a normal person." Zhou Zhongmao took a look and said, "Even if he isn't a normal person, he is still a human. As long as he is a human, there is nothing to be afraid of." Lin Fan said. Just at that moment, when the middle-aged man who was tossed out of the gambling den heard that, he smiled and walked over. "Young master's words are really good. I am Feng Bolu, Feng from Feng Feng, Bo from Feng Feng, Lu from Feng Feng Lu. How should I address you?" Feng Polia stood upright. Although his hair was messy and there was dust on his face, he felt that he had an aura. He even stroked his mustache coquettishly. Zhou Zhongmao blocked in front of him and looked at him warily. As long as he did anything weird, he would take him down right away. "Cousin, don't be too nervous." Lin Fan patted his shoulder and smiled. "I am Lin Fan, Lin from Lin Fan, Fan from Lin Fan." Feng Polia smiled. "Good name, young Master Lin's background isn't ordinary. To be able to match up to your looks, only the Lin family is." "Good eyesight." Lin Fan acknowledged and agreed with what he said. His bootlicking skills were something that without decades of practice, one wouldn't be able to do. "Young Master Lin, we are like old friends. You are like a friend I knew in the past. Can I speak to you?" Feng Polia said. "If you have something to say it here. It's fine, we're all on the same side." Lin Fan said. He had met a veteran. Most people didn't have the ability to make friends with others. Feng Polia walked to Lin Fan's side and smiled. "Brother, lend me some money to recoup my losses. What do you think?" Lin Fan's expression was indifferent as he shook his head and said, "No." "What do you want to do? If you want to borrow money, then find someone else. If you dare to cheat my cousin, I will beat you up." Zhou Zhongmao's attitude towards Feng Polia changed. Although this guy wasn't an ordinary person, he was a gambler. How dare he try to get his hands on his cousin? He must be dreaming. "Brother, don't be impulsive. I'll make a deal with your cousin. I promise we won't cheat each other," Feng Polia said and walked in front of Lin Fan. Since no one was paying attention, he carefully opened his shirt and revealed a book. "Brother, I'm not joking with you. This secret manual is a peerless secret manual. If it weren't for the fact that I have no money, I would never sell it." "Shush, softer, don't let others find out. This is a secret that our race doesn't pass down. If people find out, I won't be able to protect you." Lin Fan looked at him and squinted. What secret technique? What peerless secret technique? Feng Polia coughed. He raised his head and acted like he didn't do anything. However, his hands didn't stop as he pulled the book outward. "Look, bug controlling technique, all bugs in the world can be controlled. Brother, I saw that we were fated, which was why I thought about making a deal with you." After saying that, Feng Polia closed his shirt and acted like it was real. He looked left and right and acted like nothing had happened. "How much did you sell it for?" Lin Fan asked. "Not much, just a few dozen." "No, I didn't sell it. This is a peerless technique, so I can't casually sell it. I saw that you looked like my old friend. I wanted to give it to you, but looking at your status, if I gave it to you, wouldn't I be insulting you? So I just wanted to make a deal." Feng Polia was going all out to promote this secret technique. "It is okay. I am not afraid of being insulted," Lin Fan said calmly. "Not bad, he was playing tricks on him. This person had some skill." Feng Polia was stunned and then smiled. "Brother really knows how to joke. Is 10 silver enough? I am not interested in the technique, but you have some ability, so I will help you," Lin Fan said. "Brother is loyal, I thank you." Feng Polia cupped his fists and said solemnly. Then, Feng Polia took out a technique from his left chest and stuffed it into Lin Fan's arms. He patted his shoulder. "Brother, good thing, really good thing. I hope that when we meet in the future, you will be able to learn it." "Go Z, pay up," Lin Fan said. Go Z looked at young master and then at Feng Polia. This fellow was definitely a liar, but since young master agreed, what else could he say? He could only pay 10 silver. Feng Polius smiled like a flower when he got the money. Brother, I will take my leave. He didn't even turn his head, running really quickly and instantly disappearing. Cousin, these people are liars. Cultivation techniques are expensive, not to mention top cultivation technique. They are hard to buy even with money, Zhou Zhongmao said. Lin Fan smiled. It is okay, bootlicking is also a skill. To meet such a person in the morning, it makes me feel really happy. As a rich family young master, he had to have such an attitude. If he felt good, then he had to reward him. Let's go to Drunk Fragrance Pavilion to drink tea. Lin Fan held a fan, one hand behind his back. He walked into the distance like a young master. He had just gotten this fan today. It was barely worthy of his identity. When Lin Fan and the others left, Feng Poliu charged into the gambling den and shouted, "Grandsons, watch how Grandpa will kill you." Not long later, with a pung, Feng Poliu was tossed out from the gambling den once more. "You fellow, if you dare to cause trouble without money, I will break your legs." The people in the gambling den hollered in rage. "Kiki." Feng Poliu patted his butt and left. "I will continue to find a young man with a dream to learn martial arts." He patted his right chest. What was placed here was what he used to earn money. Suddenly, he stood there in a daze. His right chest swelled up. He patted his left chest. There was nothing on his left chest, it was dry and shriveled up. "No, the left is real, the right is fake." "No, the left is fake, the right is real." "Left is real, right is fake." "That's not right, my head hurts. I placed it here in the morning, how did this happen?" Feng Poliu hurriedly took out the technique on his right chest. The cover was also bug controlling technique, but it was totally different from placing it on his left chest. When he saw the contents on the first page, he was completely dumbfounded. "Wah!" he cried out in pain. "Brother, come back, I took the wrong one." P.S. The group number was in the introduction, 534442331, this was it. P.S. Please give me a recommendation vote, big shots. Chapter 36. Drunk Fragrance Pavilion. The servant carried a plate and walked over. "Young Master Lin, please eat." 8 treasure cake, 5 grain porridge, almond tea. Simple and casual. This breakfast wasn't something that normal commoners could enjoy. 8 treasure cake was made from 8 different ingredients, one of which was ginseng, which had a really good nourishing effect. "What do you all want to eat?" "Just order whatever you want," Lin Fan said. Zhou Zhongmao shook his head. "Cousin, I am not hungry at all." "Young master, me too." The two of them were helpless. They had to look at what time it was. In just a few more hours they would be able to eat lunch. Lin Fan didn't say anything and started to eat. Drunk Fragrance Pavilion's food tasted really good, as expected from the biggest restaurant in U City. Thinking back to that Feng Poliu fellow, he directly took out the secret technique in his arms to take a look. "Cousin, be careful. You can't cultivate these fake techniques, otherwise if something happens you won't know what to do," Zhou Zhongmao reminded. Fake techniques were really dangerous. There were people who obtained them before, but they were fake ones. They followed the techniques on it and died in the end. They didn't even have a chance to be saved. To him, how could there be such a dumb person in the world? Someone who exchanged the techniques for silver. Especially someone who said that it was a top technique, that was really amusing. "Don't worry, do you think your cousin is dumb?" Lin Fan flipped to the first page. He ate while reading. What was written on it was really mysterious. However, it was okay to take a look. Zhou Zhongmao looked at his cousin warily. As long as cousin showed signs of cultivating, he would attack right away to stop him. How could he cultivate a technique of unknown origin, and it might even be fake? He would lose his life if he did that. Very quickly, Lin Fan finished reading it. There wasn't anything attractive about it, just that it was a little fierce. The small support system changed. Bug controlling technique. Unlearnt, this was a real cultivation technique. Cousin, take a look. This cultivation technique seems to be real. Lin Fan tossed it over. Since the small support system recorded it, that meant that the cultivation technique was indeed useful. It seemed like that fellow had a conscience and didn't cheat others. The 10 silver was worth it. Not only was he flattered for no reason, but he also received a cultivation technique. Not only did he not make a loss, he even made a profit. Outside, Feng Polia came out from the gambling den and ran to many places to search for Lin Fan. Damn. He actually took the wrong one. It seemed like he had lost his mind from gambling. Otherwise, how could such a thing happen? This was his lifeblood. Even if he lost his life, he couldn't lose this thing. At this time, he saw a figure on the upper floor of the Drunk Fragrance Pavilion. It was the young Master Lin who gave him 10 taels of silver. Found it, finally found it. Feng Polia was delighted and heaved a sigh of relief. He thought that he couldn't find it and could only take the risk to head to the Lin family. It seemed like he had a chance. He quickened his pace and walked towards Lin Fan. When he arrived at the Drunk Fragrance Pavilion, clatter. There was a splash in the trash can at the side, as if something had fallen out. Feng Polia looked out and noticed a secret technique floating in the dirty water. It was very familiar. He seemed to have seen it somewhere before. What? Feng Polia's pupils constricted. This was the bug controlling technique, his life. He didn't think it was dirty and directly took it out. It was wet and there was a weird smell. He flipped it eagerly. The content was what he wanted. I am back, I am finally back. He heaved a sigh of relief. How terrifying. If he couldn't find this technique, he definitely wouldn't leave U City. He had to find it before he could leave. Now that he had it in his hands, he was prepared to leave. Suddenly, he stopped and stood beneath the Drunk Fragrance Pavilion. His expression was one of disbelief as he muttered to himself. What do you mean? What does he mean? He doesn't care about my top technique at all, tossing it aside like it was a shoe. No, I have to ask for an explanation. Feng Polia stepped into the Drunk Fragrance Pavilion. He was a contrarian. In the pavilion, Zhou Zhongmao didn't care about the technique at all. When cousin passed it to him, he tossed it away. It was fake. It was fake. He felt like it was a hindrance to him. Lin Fan didn't care, so he just tossed it away. It was good that cousin was happy. Moreover, the name of the bug-controlling technique wasn't domineering enough. Although the content was a little overbearing, it was really meaningless. Ta-ta. Footsteps spread out from the stairs, they were really hurried. You can't go up, who are you? The manager tried to stop him. Feng Polia's clothes were too ugly, like a refugee, so how could the manager let him go up? However, how could he stop him? I say, what's wrong with you, shopkeeper? I'm here to look for someone. Do I look like a beggar to you? Feng Polia was furious. He was actually treated as a beggar. If this was decades ago, he would have slapped him. What is going on? Lin Fan looked out. It was so noisy and that voice was a little familiar. Very quickly, he saw that the innkeeper was pulling someone along. That person was like a dog, walking up with all his might. He couldn't stop him at all. Brother, it is me. Tell the manager to stop pulling me, I am here to find you. Feng Polia shouted. He didn't want to bully people who didn't have strength. If not, with a wave of his arm, the manager would have smashed into the wall and spat out 3 liters of blood. Manager, stop pulling, I know him. Lin Fan said. The manager released his hand, his expression changed. He said politely, So you are young Master Lin's friend, why didn't you say so earlier? Please, please enter. I told you, but you didn't believe me. Feng Polia shook his head. Lin Fan waved his hands. Manager, you can head down first. This place has nothing to do with you. Okay, young Master Lin, take your time. I will wait downstairs if you have something to say. The manager left. At this moment, Lin Fan felt that Feng Poliu was a little interesting and said, You lost everything? You are here to sell techniques to me? Zhou Zhongmao stared at Feng Poliu in rage. How was this person so shameless? Did he really think that his cousin was a fool? Feng Poliu wasn't angry. Brother, how is that possible? What do you mean by selling? Although I like to gamble, I really like to sell techniques to you. What a waste, I thought you were here to sell. What is the matter? Anyway, I don't have money, Lin Fan said. Feng Poliu organized his words and said angrily, Brother, I didn't come for anything else but to ask why you threw my top technique into the trash bucket. You are insulting the technique, and also me as a person. Scoff, acting all mysterious, fake techniques, who are you trying to harm? Zhou Zhongmao scoffed coldly. If cousin wasn't here, he would have attacked long ago. Fake? Feng Poliu raised his voice. You big fellow, I don't know if I should say that you are ignorant or blind. You actually said that my secret technique is fake. Do you know how many people would fight for it if it was placed outside? Zhou Zhongmao scoffed in disdain. Cousin, this secret technique is real. Lin Fan said. Listen to what your cousin said. This is real. Feng Poliu pointed at Zhou Zhongmao and said in delight. However, what Lin Fan said next made Feng Poliu so furious that he wanted to show off. It doesn't mean anything, Lin Fan said. Feng Poliu was unwilling. This technique was his life. For others to say that it didn't mean anything made his heart hurt. Brother, your words are a little hurtful. You can insult me, but you can't insult my technique. This secret manual is the only copy that has been lost to the world. Truthfully, I wanted to use another to bluff you, but I took the wrong one and took out the real one. If not, I wouldn't have chased you all the way here. But now that you don't care about my technique, looking down on it, I can't take it anymore. Let's go outside the city. I have to let you all know how strong the bug controlling technique is and how much of a good chance you all missed out on. Feng Poliu couldn't take it. Facing people who didn't know, he could only use such methods to prove himself. Chapter 37. Outside the city. Lin Fan had nothing to do. He did nothing every day and was really bored. For such a talented comedic person to suddenly appear, he would definitely support him. Cousin, be careful in case this fellow lures us out of the city and wants to harm us, Zhou Zhongmao said softly. His gaze didn't move away from him. As long as he did anything weird, he would kill him right away. He came to an empty space. Feng Poliu stood there and took in a deep breath. It was like he was a different person, the aura he gave off was different too. Look closely, this is the true terrifying part of the bug controlling technique. The moment he said that, with Feng Poliu as the center, many ripples spread out. These ripples couldn't be seen by the naked eye, and one could only see it from the swaying grass. What strong internal strength! Zhou Zhongmao's expression was solemn. Lin Fan waved his fan and nodded. Interesting. Not long later. Chiu Chiu. Gigi. Many soft sounds spread out from the ground and the forest in the distance. The ground seemed to be shaking. The soil beneath Lin Fan's feet was shaking too. Young master, look there! Go Zi exclaimed and looked into the distance in disbelief. Not far from the forest, a black mist surged over. No, it wasn't a black mist, but many small bugs. The sound of flapping wings got closer and closer. Shortly after, many bugs living in the soil flipped open the soil like they were being guided, popping out in group. A black patch covered the entire ground. Cousin, be careful, Zhou Zhongmao said softly. There were just too many of them. If one couldn't use internal strength to protect their bodies, just this bug ocean tactic was enough to swallow everyone. Cousin, what is going on? Why are these bugs so obedient? Lin Fan asked. Zhou Zhongmao shook his head. Cousin, I can't see it, but it should be some special internal strength that is guiding them. At that moment, Feng Polia smiled. How is it? Is it terrifying? What you have seen is just the tip of the iceberg. The true terrifying part of the bug controlling technique hasn't been shown yet. But I can tell you that if it is shown, no grass will grow within a few miles. Lin Fan clapped. Amazing, really amazing. To play with bugs to such a level, it is rare in the world. Feng Poliu felt really good. Brother, now that you understand what kind of opportunity you missed, let me tell you something. If I can cultivate the bug controlling technique to the max level and my internal strength is strong enough, then there will be even more terrifying phenomena. If one doesn't cultivate the bug controlling technique, one wouldn't know about it. I'm leaving. You can slowly regret it. As soon as he finished speaking, Feng Polia's body seemed to be made up of numerous bugs. He then scattered and disappeared along with the bugs. At the same time, a voice could be heard. I exposed myself before you all not to prove how powerful I am, but to let you all know what sort of opportunity you all missed out on. Ha 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 ha, the sound gradually faded away. Only Lin Fan and the others were left in the forest. Cousin, what is he doing? Zhou Zhongmao was stunned. Why did he leave just like that? Lin Fan thought for a moment. He's probably afraid that we'll ask for it back, so he purposely put on a show in front of us. It's not bad indeed. Although it looks a little scary, it's really overbearing. Cousin, I was wrong. Zhou Zhongmao was sad. He regretted that he had eyes but failed to see, causing his cousin to miss out on such a peerless secret manual. Although he didn't show many skills. But just from what he showed, it was enough to show that this secret technique was above many cultivation technique. What wrong? It is just controlling bugs. How disgusting. Let's go back. Lin Fan patted his cousin's shoulder and didn't care much about it. He just felt that Feng Poliu was a little delighted. He remembered the secret technique. He even showed off his ability and then fled. He was purposely trying to make him feel disgusted. He remembered it. In the future, if they had a chance to meet, they could have a deep conversation. City Gate. A row of carriages came out. The one at the lead was the Su family guards, the Su family with the three-leaf family emblem. The refugees on both sides spread out. Is the Su family leaving? Lin Fan muttered. The carriages didn't stop and just passed by Lin Fan. Just at that moment, a carriage that passed by Lin Fan stopped. Su Gang opened the curtains and revealed her face. Young Master Lin, if you have a chance come to Zhua City, I will treat you well. So it is little Miss Su, the injuries on your face are all healed. You look much prettier than before. Lin Fan smiled. Oh right, did you find the culprit? I think the culprit really knows how to hide. Rage plus 123. The moment he talked about the culprit, Su Gang was filled with rage. She just didn't find him. Thank you, young Master Lin, for your concern. I will definitely find the culprit. Elder Su, who was holding the rope, looked at Lin Fan expressionlessly and said, Young Master Lin, your father's Yu Meng will die one day. Only by becoming stronger can you continue living freely. I hope young Master Lin knows what to do. Little miss, let's hurry. If we waste time, we won't be able to reach before night falls. Let's go. Old Su didn't have a good attitude towards Lin Fan. Little Miss was naive and dumb. It was already so obvious, so why couldn't she see it? He knew that the one who hurt Little Miss was the Lin family kid. Now, he still had the face to act dumb in front of Little Mississippi. If not for him caring about Little Miss's temper, and knowing that the person who hurt her was this kid, she would have torn apart the Lin family. Lin Wani definitely wouldn't let this matter rest. It would instead cause conflict between the two families. It wasn't worth it. Lin Fan didn't reply. He just smiled and waved his hands. Little Miss Su, be a good person and stop bullying normal people. Seeing the carriages get further and further away, he shouted. It wasn't good for this old woman to bully normal people. Hey! Lin Fan smiled. Cousin, why did the Su family come to you city? Zhou Zhongmao shook his head. Cousin, I don't know. Forget it, let's go home. At this moment, the Yuan and Liang family were at the city gate. After they sent little Miss Su off, their expressions became solemn. During this period of time, little Miss Su had insulted them badly. If they weren't afraid of the Su family's strength, this brat would have been slapped to death at the side. When the Yuan and Liang family saw Lin Fan, their faces turned dark and sunken. During this period of time, this kid had brought them many problems. When enemies met, their eyes turned red. Rage points plus 223. Rage points plus 177. But Lin Fan opened his fan leisurely. When he passed the two families, he smiled. It is right to be angry. It doesn't feel good to keep it bottled up in your heart. That damn kid. Old Master Yuan was so furious that he was about to spit out flames. However, there was nothing he could do. Old Master Liang was the most frustrated, and also the most furious. Before he even agreed, Zhang family village was swallowed by the Lin family. In the crowd, many furious eyes stared at Lin Fan. Liang Yongqi was the most furious. He really wanted to swallow Lin Fan up. He had never been bullied before, but during this period of time, he took all the anger he had for the past 20 years. Lin Fan's lips curled up and he glanced at everyone. Helplessness is so scary. Rage points plus 111. Rage points plus 123. Rage points plus 88. P.S. Thank you, Book Horse Can Fly, 50,000 Qidian coins from Elder, you are so domineering. P.S. I was once a flower, but now it has withered. To write a book, please give me some recommendation votes and rewards to nourish me. Chapter 38. On the official road, dozens of miles away from U City. Ha ha, feels good, it really feels good. Feng Polio kept the bug-controlling technique close to his body. He was really frightened. If he lost the technique, it would be really painful. Luckily, he found it and it was a safe trip. To him, he had to thank Lin Fan for not knowing his stuff. U City is too old and there are too many gambling dens. I should head to Rong City. He was a wanderer who roamed the world. He spent half a month in U City and didn't gain anything. Instead, he was conned by the gambling dens. The gambling techniques here were too strong, and it was time to change places. Back courtyard. Lin Fan returned to the manor and laid on the wooden chair. He ate some iced fruits, and his body felt really good. His life was really carefree. The blazing sun in the sky was a little intense, and the fan blocked half of it. Occasionally the wind would blow over, and it was really cold. U City is a little small. He had come to this foreign world for a period of time, and he had caused many problems. U City only had 3 aristocratic families. The other 2 were aristocratic families, but his Lin family didn't look like one. There were too few direct descendants, and there were also too few guards. But that was good, there weren't any scheming things happening, and he was free. At this moment, he felt an itch on the back of his hand like something was crawling. He lowered his head, and it was a small black-headed ant that was slowly crawling. He instinctively wanted to slap the ant to death. However, thinking about Feng Polio's ability, he was a little interested. He sat up straight and observed the black-headed ant. It was different from the ants he saw on Earth. This ant was obviously bigger, and there were 2 rows of teeth on its upper jaw. Move! Lin Fan focused. He wanted to communicate with the ant, but it was like playing the piano to a cow, and it was totally useless. The data of the small support system had obvious changes. Rage points, 4246. Bug controlling technique wasn't an internal cultivation technique, but a cultivation technique. He could add points to it. His internal strength should have reached a level where he could cultivate the bug-controlling technique. He tried to add points. He consumed 1,000 rage points. Instantly, bug-controlling technique changed. It directly rose from novice to novice. Cultivation technique. Bug-controlling technique. Novice. The moment it entered novice, a never-before-seen internal strength formed in his dantian. It was gray and viscous like milk. It was only the size of an egg. It was different from the purple internal strength of the purple sun for Saint Scripture. It formed two different types of internal strength, but they could be merged together. Interesting. Although this internal force isn't as strong as the purple sun for Holy Scripture, it seems to have a different use. Lin Fan was so bored that he could only find some fun. The black ant was still crawling on the back of his hand. Although it was light to put down its antennae, he had already raised his physique to 90 points, so he could feel the extremely slight vibration. Let's try and see whether or not this bug-controlling technique is so magical. He had previously thought that this was just an ordinary low-level martial world. But later on, he knew that his thinking was too simple. This was not a low martial world, it should be a high martial world. Raising his right hand, Zhang Xian gathered the gray inner energy that had just formed in his body at the tip of his finger, and a thread of inner energy enveloped the ant. Suddenly, he felt a slight change. The ant on the back of his hand did not move. Lin Fan's heart skipped a beat and he wanted the ants to jump. At this moment, the ant on the back of his hand seemed to be controlled. Its antennae bent and it suddenly bounced up, wanting to jump up and then fall down. It really works? He was shocked that the ant could actually be controlled by him. To Lin Fan, this was like discovering a new continent. It was really interesting. He continued to pass down orders. The ant on the back of his hand was like a puppet that was being controlled, listening to orders and doing what he told it to do. Other people couldn't see it, but he could sense that a thread of his internal strength was connected to the ant. It was directly cut off. The ant that was listening to his orders suddenly stopped moving. It was like it was stimulated, randomly crawling on the back of his hand. It landed on the ground along the wooden chair, hiding in the cracks of the green bricks and slowly leaving. Interesting, really interesting. Lin Fan smiled. This cultivation technique was really interesting. Chi-chi. A little bird landed on the tree in the courtyard and chirped. Lin Fan used his internal strength to strike the bird once more. When this thread of internal strength touched the little bird, it seemed like it was frightened, flapping its wings and flying away. It can't work? Maybe it is because little birds aren't bugs. Bug controlling technique, is it really controlling bugs? If that was the case, then the potential of the bug controlling technique was limited. However, who knew? Maybe it was because he had just learned the basics and the special internal strength he formed hadn't reached a shocking level, which was why he was unable to control the little bird. Just as Lin Fan wanted to continue, Go Zi walked over. Young master, it is lunchtime. Old master told you to head over. Lin Fan got up and walked towards the dining area. Although his father was disappointed in him, they basically ate together. One of the 3 meals a day had to be there. When he arrived, his cousin and father were sitting there waiting for him. In the huge Lin family, only the 3 of them were relatives. Compared to the Yuan family and the Liang family, the difference wasn't just a tiny bit. Especially the Yuan family, they had many direct descendants. To Lin Fan, this old man Yuan was a stallion tycoon, who knew how many concubines he had. Father. Lin Fan walked to the front of the table and found a place to sit. Lin Wani acknowledged and didn't say much. He really didn't know what to say to his son. In the past, he was filled with despair. Lin Wani was so famous, but why was his son such a useless person? At that time, he was thinking that he was in despair. Forget it, if he didn't cultivate, then so be it. As a parent, his goal was for his child to be safe. Since he didn't have any achievements, then he would take responsibility. But in the end, he and old Wu realized that this unfilial kid actually cultivated. Although his realm was low and couldn't be of much use, it was much better than before. Zhong Mao told me that you met a weird person? Lin Wanyi asked. Lin Fan was really casual. It isn't weird, it is just a normal person. He took a cultivation technique and sold it to me. I didn't find it interesting, so I told cousin to throw it away. At the start, Lin Wanyi didn't know who it was, but when he heard that it was the bug controlling technique, he instantly thought about a certain faction. It was a rather troublesome and terrifying force. Uncle, it's my fault. That was indeed a peerless technique, but I treated it as a scam. Zhou Zhongmao still couldn't forget the fact that he had such a precious treasure in his hands, but it was thrown away like trash. His heart ached. You didn't do anything. That isn't something you can touch. Forget about it, it is good for all of you. Lin Wanyi said. How has your blade cultivation been? Lin Fan ate and muttered, I haven't, it is so boring. Rage points plus 66. He saw the small support system give him a notification of rage point. He only wanted to say that he was helpless. He was angry just like that? However, the rage points were a little low, which didn't match his father's situation. Don't cause trouble for me. Lin Wanyi lectured. Oh, understood. Lin Fan replied half-heartedly. Rage points plus 88. Lin Wanyi took in a deep breath. The unfilial kid's reply was just half-hearted. It seemed like he had to train at night. Old Wu, who was standing at the side, shook his head. It seemed like young master was going to suffer again. Just as they spoke, Lin Fan had eaten 5 bowls of rice in a row. It wasn't enough, so he told the servants to scoop more before he continued to eat. Cousin, your appetite has become bigger, Zhou Zhongmao said. It is okay, my body has been growing, Lin Fan replied. His digestive ability was a little strong, and when it was time to eat, he would be really hungry. Lin Wanyi looked at his unfilial kid and then instructed. In the future, slaughter pigs. Chapter 39. After lunch, Lin Fan returned to the courtyard. Within the reading room. Old Master, why would people from Insect Valley appear in U City? Old Wu was really confused. Insect Valley was far away from U City, especially since U City was at the border. There wasn't anything that could attract their attention. Lin Wanyi had interacted with people from Insect Valley before. They were indeed a terrifying bunch of people. If my guesses are correct, that person should be Insect Valley's traitor, Feng Poliu. Lin Wanyi said. Old Wu was shocked. Old Master, you are talking about Feng Poliu, who killed his master? To normal people, this matter belonged to another world. But to them, it was something they were familiar with. There isn't much time left, a storm is coming. 20 years is a cycle, who knows whether or not U City can still exist. Lin Wanyi said solemnly. He hoped that Feng Poliu was just passing by U City. If he had a goal, that wasn't a good thing for U City. Old Master, we can only try our best. Old Wu said. Courtyard. Lin Fan laid there and let go Z leave. Internal strength seeped out from his body and covered the ground. As the internal strength was too weak, it could only cover 10 meters. He sensed that there were many small bugs around. At this moment, the bugs were covered by internal strength and formed a really subtle connection with him. Many ants surged from all around. Naturally, their numbers couldn't compare to Feng Poliu's, but to Lin Fan it was a good start. When these ants gathered together, they looked like soldiers. I can't control more ants, my internal strength isn't strong enough. Lin Fan thought about it. Bug controlling technique, controlling ants, seemed a little useless. However, he was thinking about something. Such a small thing, if he didn't use it to do something, then wouldn't the 1,000 rage points he spent on bug controlling technique be a waste? But what should he do? He really didn't think about it. Forget it, let's not think about it. When I think about it, then I will use it. Spending so much time to study bug controlling technique, even he didn't dare to believe it. Head out. He had to head out. On the streets of U City, Lin Fan brought Cousin and Go Z to stroll leisurely. Hayes, U City is not bad, so why is it so broken? Lin Fan asked. He really didn't understand. If U City was more beautiful, it would definitely attract more people and make U City more lively. At least it wouldn't be as boring as it was now. Young master. Just at that moment, Manager Chun, who had just returned from the city, saw his young master and immediately welcomed him. Manager Chun, what's up with you? Lin Fan looked at how flustered Manager Chun was as though he had met with something. Manager Chun was really anxious. Young master, it's great to meet you. Something happened at Qin Family Village and Zhang Family Village. Yuan family and Liang family sent people this morning to steal all the grain stored in the two villages. He didn't leave a single grain of rice. He said that he had paid the land tax and had nothing to do with him from now on. He went to register the distribution of fields in the morning. When he found out about this, he didn't know what to do. Tian was indeed pregnant. However, without rations they wouldn't be able to last long. Damn, are these two old dogs so strong? Lin Fan was furious. They were going to fight him to the death. Great, I have nothing to do recently and am so bored. They actually sent themselves to me, so I am going to fight them to the death. Manager Chun saw that young master's expression wasn't good and said softly, Young master, you can't be too rash. We snatched Qin Family Village and Zhang Family Village from their hands and have angered them. They did this to make it impossible for the villagers to live. Kiki. Lin Fan smiled, how playful, to think of causing trouble for me. Let's go to the two villages. Yes. Manager Chun replied. He came back from outside the city to inform young master. Liang family. When the Liang family young master Liang Ichu learned about this, he frowned for a long time. Big brother, what happened? Second miss asked. Liang Ichu shook his head. How stupid. How could they send people to snatch back all the grain stored in the village? They didn't leave anyone alive. Second miss didn't feel like there was a problem. Brother, you can't blame father. Zhang Family Village betrayed us first, so we took their grain and treated it as paying taxes. From now on, we have nothing to do with them, so we are letting them off. You don't understand. Liang Ichu said. I will find father and ask him to return the stored grain. Brother, don't go. Second miss chased. Big brother was too soft-hearted and wasn't the type that father liked. Although she didn't like third brother, he was vicious and father liked him. If big brother continued to anger father, then the Liang family would be snatched away by him. Liang Ichu shook off her hand and stepped into the reading room. Not long later, there was a ping sound. There was the sound of something smashing inside. Second miss was waiting outside. When she heard that, her face turned white. She knew that father was angry. As expected. Scram right now. Liang Ichu was chased out and shook his head. Big brother, forget it, don't make father angry. Second miss said. Hayes. Liang Ichu shook his head and felt really depressed. Kachi. Liang Yongqi walked out from the room. The injuries on his face hadn't healed yet. He gloated as he looked at Liang Ichu. Big brother, don't make father angry. Your thoughts are too naive. If the Liang family falls into your hands, then it will be destroyed. Second sister, don't be anxious. Once I take on father's responsibility, I will find a good husband for you and raise the kids. The moment he said that, Liang Yongqi stood with his arms behind his back and strutted away. Just now, inside, his father said something to him. In the future, the Liang family would have to rely on him. The meaning behind those words was that Liang Yongqi would be in charge of the Liang family in the future. Big brother, look at third brother. He is too arrogant. If the Liang family really falls into his hands, then there won't be a place for us. Brother, what are you thinking about? Second Miss said anxiously. For some reason, Liang Yichu thought back to what young Master Lin said to him. If I become the family head, then I will have the right to speak. He muttered and then thought about something. Second sister, you head back first. Big brother, then what about you? Second Miss asked. Liang Yichu looked at the tightly shut reading room. I will go apologize to father. The moment he said that, he walked towards the reading room, pushed it open and then closed the wooden door. As for what happened next, no one knew. Big brother is enlightened. Second Miss was shocked. She then said excitedly. Enlightened, finally enlightened. Qin family village. When Lin Fan arrived, he frowned as if he had been robbed by bandit. They aren't giving me any face at all, Lin Fan said. Zhou Zhongmao said, cousin, if they don't give us face, then we will beat them up. Some of the villagers were injured and their faces were bitter and filled with despair. At that moment, someone shouted, Young Master Lin is here. Originally, in the eyes of the villagers, Lin Fan was an aristocratic family young master. He wasn't a good person and they had to stay away from him. However, what happened next made them see it clearly. Young Master Lin was a good person. Looking at these villagers, Lin Fan was furious. He was such a lazy person and even knew not to bully commoners. These fellows were actually addicted to bullying them. Don't be afraid. Tomorrow I will distribute the grain. Come to the city to get it. Lin Fan waved his hands. Putong. Manager Chen knelt on the ground and didn't get up. He raised his head and looked at his young master with tears streaming down his face. Young master, why is it that every time I am with you, you play so big? When Lin Fan saw Manager Chen cry, he couldn't help but smile. He didn't expect Manager Chen to be such a sentimental person. He was so touched that he cried. P.S. Thank you, the book horse can fly. Elder has been promoted to alliance leader. Thank you, Elder. Chapter 40. At that moment, not only did Manager Chen kneel down, his face covered in tears. Even the villagers were stunned as they looked at young Master Lin like they had heard wrongly. They thought that young Master Lin would console them and say some harmless words, but who knew that young Master Lin would actually split the grain with them? This was something that they didn't dare to imagine. They were so shocked that they couldn't speak. That's right. It's really rare to find a kind-hearted person like me. Lin Fan felt good about himself. Maybe that was really the case. Manager Chen was touched by him. The villagers were so shocked that they were speechless. This feeling made him feel really good. Manager Chen raised his hand with much difficulty and pulled his young master's sleeves. His lips were dry. Young master, Lin Fan told Manager Chen not to speak. I know what you want to say. This is something that I should do. To Manager Chen, it was like the sky had collapsed. Young master didn't understand what he wanted to say at all. If old master found out, it would be huge. It would be hard to describe how the world would flip, although he wasn't sure. However, such a thing should have happened. Just at that moment, when the villagers came to their senses, the expressions on their faces underwent a shocking change. The despair from before was replaced by hope. Putong. They were too used to kneeling. All the villagers knelt down. Thank you, young Master Lin. Looking at the black patch of villagers, Lin Fan wanted to tell them to stop kneeling as it wasn't a huge matter. However, it seemed like it was useless. So be it. He was a rich family young master who loved to enjoy life. He wasn't an evil landlord. There is no need to thank me. I will still say the same thing, farm well. Whether or not I can enjoy life in the future depends on all of you. Lin Fan's words were more direct. Why did he say so many fake words? He split out the Lin family's farmland because he wanted to have an endless source of income to create more wealth. Only then would he be able to enjoy life in the future. That kind of short-term farming model was too dangerous. It wasn't long. How many commoners could sustain it? In the end, if they fought to the death, it wouldn't be worth it. Don't worry, young Master Lin, we will try our best to farm. We won't disappoint you. When they were in despair, young Master Lin appeared and gave them hope. They had no way to repay him and could only work hard to farm. Plant good land. All of you rise. Tomorrow I will give out rations. Wait at the entrance of the Lin Manor. Lin Fan said. He then waved his hands. Let's head back. Manager Chen wanted to stand up, but his legs were trembling. He fell down again when he tried to stand up. In the end, Zhou Zhongmao helped him up. Manager Chen, your physique is a little lacking, said Zhou Zhongmao. Manager Chen wanted to cry, but no tears came out. He wanted to shout that it wasn't that teacher Zhou's body was weak, but that he was frightened by young master. The backyard of the Lin mansion. After returning, Lin Fan laid there and held a map of Yu City. He took a look and after memorizing the location, he tossed it to the side. Young master, do we take grain from the Lin family granary? Gozi asked. He didn't understand either. This is a matter that benefits others and not oneself. Even if he sympathized with the villagers, young master was giving away the Lin family's stored food. Guess. Lin Fan smiled. Gozi scratched his head. How could he guess it? At this moment, just as Lin Fan was prepared to move, rage points started to rise. Rage points plus 111. Rage points plus 223. Rage points plus 333. Zhou Zhongmao hurriedly ran in from outside. Cousin, not good, uncle is here. He panicked a little. Although he knew that what cousin did would make uncle angry, he didn't expect that uncle would actually come with a blade. What? Lin Fan was stunned. He came too quickly. He knew that his father would be angry, but now that he came with a blade, that was a little terrifying. No. He shouldn't be so angry that he exploded. If not, he wouldn't have so few rage points. Unfilial kid. Before he even arrived, a furious voice spread out. Lin Wani's expression was really ugly. He had just told this unfilial kid not to cause trouble, who knew that in the blink of an eye this would happen? Xiao. A light flashed across, and then a blade stabbed into the ground. It trembled and gave out a buzzing sound. The snow-white blade gave off a dark glow under the light. Lin Fan and cousin exchanged glances with one another. What was the meaning of this? Was it that he couldn't take it anymore and wanted to sacrifice himself to the heavens? Cousin, hurry up and apologize to uncle later. I think uncle is serious this time. Zhou Zhongmao said. Oh my God. Lin Fan was speechless. It isn't anything bad, is there a need to do this? Very quickly, Lin Wani arrived and old Wu followed beside him. He kept giving glances to young master for him to apologize. However, to Lin Fan, he definitely couldn't do that. Father, what is the matter? Lin Fan asked. Scoff. Lin Wani scoffed coldly. What is the matter? Don't you have an idea? Now that you have grown, how much ability do you have to distribute grain to the villagers? Facing his father's pincer attack, Lin Fan calmed down and didn't panic. Father, didn't you say that I have already grown up, and as long as I know what I am doing, it is fine? Lin Fan said. You unfilial kid, you don't remember the good things, and only know how to remember these things. Tell me, do you know what you are doing? Lin Wani was furious. The unfilial kid actually dared to argue with him. He was really bold. Old Wu sighed. Looking at the situation, young master probably wouldn't apologize to old master. Of course, I know what I am doing. The Yuan and Liang families are so despicable, stealing the grain of the two villages and not giving them a way out. Now that Qin family village and Zhang family village are managed by the Lin family, we can't do nothing. Lin Fan said. Lin Wani laughed coldly. What are you going to do? Use the Lin family's grain. Lin Fan replied directly. That is the Lin family's, not yours. Lin Wani said. Lin Fan shook his head. No, it is mine. I am the Lin family young master, your only son. You. Lin Wani was so furious that he was speechless. This unfilial kid actually had no way to retort. His words did make sense. Old Wu looked at the two of them like he was looking at a fun thing. In the past, young master rarely spoke so much to old master. Now that young master started to argue with old master, it was a good development. Okay, I won't talk to you. Now, pick up your blade. As long as you can win, I will let this matter go. Lin Wani said. Father, aren't you purposely beating me up? You are so strong, so how can I beat you? Lin Fan said. What a joke. He knew that his father wasn't simple. Even the Yuan and Liang families combined wouldn't be enough to beat him up. Your external cultivation is not bad, martial path grade 3. Internal cultivation is a little weak, martial path grade 1. I will suppress my cultivation and use martial path grade 2 to fight you. Don't say that I didn't give you a chance. Lin Wani didn't care about Lin Fan's cultivation at all. Even if he used martial path grade 2, he could suppress this unfilial kid. His thoughts were simple. He wanted to use martial path grade 2 to let this unfilial kid know that his cultivation was far from enough and that he was far from being strong enough. Lin Fan was delighted. Father, you aren't lying to me? Pick up your blade and stop talking nonsense. Lin Wani hollered in rage. Okay, then I will offend you. If I injure you later, don't blame me. Lin Fan felt like his father didn't care about him at all. He actually used martial path grade 2 to fight him. Lin Wani wanted to laugh from the unfilial kid's words. He was injured? Scoff. That was an accident last time. Chapter 41. Come. Lin Wani stood with one hand behind his back and curled his finger towards Lin Fan. This was a provocative action. However, to Lin Fan, father had enough confidence. He actually said that he would only use martial path grade 2 cultivation. That meant that he had a lot of confidence. No, I have to raise the blade technique, otherwise, father might really take advantage of me. Truthfully, seeing how confident father was, he panicked a little. Add points, raise. Cultivation technique. Vengeful tiger blade technique, returning to true. He spent a full 1,000 rage points. This was a huge leap in quality. Reaching the peak only cost 600 rage points, directly reaching returning to true consumed 1,000. It seemed like it would be really strong. At this moment, when he raised the vengeful tiger blade technique to returning to true, a magical feeling flowed into his body. That feeling was like he was born with it, like he was familiar with it from the start. Holding the blade, that feeling became more frequent. This small support system is really amazing. Just 1 point and it is comparable to dozens of years of hard work. He felt like the blade in his hand wasn't a blade but a part of his body. It didn't feel foreign at all. Old Wu was shocked. He felt that the moment young master held the blade, the aura he gave off was really indescribable. Maybe it was an illusion. Come to me, Lin Wani said. Pung. Lin Fan directly struck with the blade. This unfilial kid. Lin Wani was stunned. He saw that something was different. The vengeful tiger blade technique wasn't a deep blade technique, but this unfilial kid gave him a different feeling. Father, be careful. Lin Fan held the blade, internal strength boiled and gathered on the blade. He slashed through the air with the aura of a tiger descending the mountain. Lin Wani opened his right hand, and a layer of black metal-like substance covered his skin. Dang dang! The blade clashed with his fingers like it had struck metal, sparks flew. What cultivation technique was that? It was a little handsome, Lin Fan muttered. The blade in his hand didn't stop. It landed on the ground, and with a twist of the blade, a black tiger image rose into the air and roared out in rage. But the real situation was just Lin Fan's simple blade slash. There were no fancy moves at all. But the angle was perfect. An invisible net covered the sky, covering Lin Wani. Returning to true, this kid surprised me again. Lin Wani was delighted. With his cultivation, he saw through Lin Fan's realm right away. Old Wu was even more amazed. Genius, young master is a genius. Who could cultivate the vengeful tiger blade technique to the returning to true realm in such a short time? He couldn't tell, he really couldn't tell. The young master had shocked him too much. If not for old master and young master fighting today, they probably wouldn't even know. Clang. Lin Wani's fingers grabbed Lin Fan's blade. Unfilial kid, you are not strong enough. His 5 fingers gripped the blade of the saber, not moving an inch. Tiger fiend. Suddenly, Lin Fan hollered and used his ultimate move. His internal strength, which wasn't that strong, surged towards the blade. A black tiger head attached itself to the blade and roared angrily. Lin Wani focused and loosened his fingers. He flicked the blade with one finger and the blade trembled. The blade in his hand tilted to the side uncontrollably. However, Lin Fan used the strength to change the direction and slashed horizontally. Not bad. Lin Wani praised. He then pressed his fingers together. However, it is not enough. Pilai Pala. Lin Fan felt that his father's cultivation technique was a little strong. His black fingers were like sharp swords clashing with the blade. Vengeful tiger. He directly enlarged it. The not thick internal strength exploded out and slashed towards his father. Lin Wani was shocked. This unfilial kid could still use internal strength. To him, that blade should have sucked dry the unfilial kid's internal strength. Who knew that he could still use it? Pung! Lin Wani took the blade head-on and retreated. He had suppressed his cultivation to martial path grade 2. In terms of strength, he couldn't fight against Lin Fan at all. Lin Fan's blade didn't succeed, but he didn't panic at all. He slashed once more, and the angle was even worse than before. No matter how he dodged, he had to take it head-on. Vengeful tiger. He hollered and slashed forwards once more. Pung! Back courtyard. The surrounding bricks cracked and cracks appeared. Lin Fan enlarged without any limits and slashed at his father fiercely. Old Wu was tongue-tied and filled with disbelief. What was going on with young master's internal strength? Why didn't it dry up? Even the fastest internal strength recovery technique wouldn't be able to do that. Just at that moment. Enough. Lin Wani broke away from the battle. His hands behind his back trembled slightly. There was a thin wound that slowly healed. He was injured. He was injured by this unfilial kid. As expected, martial path grade 2 was too forceful. Father, is it over? Lin Fan didn't pant. He wanted to continue slashing, but since his brother retreated from the battlefield, he couldn't. What a waste. He was really good at it. It is over. Lin Wani wanted to teach this kid a lesson and let him know that his strength wasn't enough. However, the truth was that he couldn't take it anymore. To take it, he could only raise his martial path realm. When Lin Fan heard that, he tossed the blade to the side. Boring? His lazy attitude infuriated Lin Wani. However, one had to get used to it. The skill that the unfilial kid displayed made him satisfied. As for being happy, it was too early. Father, does that mean that I won? Lin Fan asked. Lin Wani squinted his eyes. He didn't say a word and just left the back courtyard. Lin Fan asked, Father, who won? No matter what, you have to give me an outcome. Lin Wani, who didn't gain anything from the unfilial kid, left long ago. Why would he say such nonsense? Young master, you won. Old Wu smiled and turned his head. He then followed old master. Cousin, you are amazing! Zhou Zhongmao exclaimed. He didn't expect his cousin to become even stronger. It was just too unbelievable. Cousin, there is nothing amazing about it. I am just casually training. Cultivating isn't suitable for me. Lin Fan calmly waved his hands and didn't care about it at all. Luckily, he had the small support system. If he really cultivated, it would be a tough job. In the distance, "Old Master, you lost to young Master." Old Wu smiled. Lin Wani scoffed, "What, lose? If not for me suppressing myself to Martial Path Grade 2, who knows where he would have gone?" Old Wu smiled. "Old Master, your Martial Path realm is much higher than young Master's, and you are much more experienced. It isn't easy for young Master to reach such a step." "So what if it isn't easy? In the end, it is still the case. However, to have the ability to protect myself makes me at ease," Lin Wani said. As time went on, the Lin family's riches were just external things. Old Wu felt that young Master's improvement was gratifying. If he had enough time, he might have shocking achievements. What a waste. There wasn't much time. Back courtyard. Lin Fan laid there. Go Zi and cousin left, and it was time to act. Bug controlling technique had a huge demand for internal strength. However, to Lin Fan, who had the small support system, it wasn't a problem. Instead, it was a really simple matter. I should be able to deal with it if I raise my internal strength to Martial Path Grade 2. Internal strength jumped bit by bit. Internal strength 60, Martial Path Grade 2, instantly. He felt that the internal strength in his body was much stronger. The gray and purple internal strength swelled, and he felt that his strength had a huge change. It feels good. Lin Fan clenched his fist. That feeling was great. With the small support system, everything became much simpler. Very good. The only problem was that he was left with 67 rage points, which was a little pitiful. Chapter 42. Internal strength cultivation has reached Grade 2 of the Martial Path. The range has expanded, and I can control more bugs. I can move now. Like Feng Poliu, the special internal strength of the bug controlling technique slowly spread out from his leg. The internal strength of the bug controlling technique was gray, but when it spread out, it was colorless. If not for the grass trembling beneath his feet, he wouldn't have noticed it. It is much more majestic than before. There were many ants in the courtyard, surging out from all corners. Their black shells shone brightly under the light. The sound of ants coming out of their nest was very small to humans, but the trembling had a great impact on the creatures in the ground. The soil moved. Earthworms emerged from the soil one after another, twisting their bodies. The scorching temperature made these earthworms very uncomfortable. If you are not a bug, then don't come out. The bug controlling technique could only control bugs, so what did the earthworms want to do when they ran out? However, he wanted to give it a try. He wanted to see whether or not the special internal strength of the bug controlling technique was useful on them. A thread of internal strength covered over, instantly wrapping up the earthworms. Instantly, he formed some kind of connection with the earthworms. That works. Lin Fan found it weird. Damn. He was cheated by the name of the technique. How could he only control bugs? Now even earthworms were controlled. Hee, if that is the case, then I am sorry. Lin Fan controlled the earthworms to swallow the soil and dig holes. The Liang family granary wasn't far, but it wasn't close either. He thought that the speed of the earthworms would be slow, but then he noticed that they were really quick. It seems a little different. Ordinary earthworms could dig holes at a speed of about 30 centimeters per minute in slightly damp soil. But the speed of the earthworms that were controlled increased. Very quickly. It was at least 4 to 5 times faster than before. Could it be that my inner strength has a buff effect on these bugs? Lin Fan thought to himself. He might have been a rich family young master, but his brain wasn't any weaker than others. Feng Poliu treated the bug controlling technique as a treasure. If it was just controlling bugs, what kind of treasure was that? If it wasn't shockingly useful, then it wouldn't work. Then, he led a few earthworms to dig a path to the sky. After a long while, Lin Fan realized something strange. The internal energy needed to control insects was continuous and would consume his own internal energy, but he found that there was no such feeling of consumption at all, although his inner force wasn't very thick. However, one could not look down on others like that. Clang! The earthworm encountered a stone hidden in the ground, blocking its way. If it was an ordinary person, they could only take a detour. But to Lin Fan, there was nothing to fear. An earthworm died. Its mouth was badly mutilated and viscous liquid flowed out. The earthworm behind swallowed the corpse and then slowly crawled out from the back. The earthworms at the back devoured it again, and the cycle continued until the corpse was sent to the road. The commoners of U City worked, but they didn't know that there was a bunch of hard-working earthworms underground that were opening up the life tunnel. During this period of time, Go Zi came to the courtyard and noticed that young master was lying there like he was asleep. Thus, he didn't disturb him and left the courtyard to attend to other matters. The sky gradually darkened. Those earthworms finally opened up a certain part of the ground and left a small hole. If one didn't look closely, one wouldn't notice it at all. The bug controlling technique is really amazing. Internal strength turned into a thread to lead the earthworms to such a far place. Maybe this is my talent. Lin Fan was a little delighted. Based on the feedback from the earthworms, that was the Liang family granary. The Liang family had strict control over the granary, with 3 shifts of guards patrolling. Even a fly wouldn't be able to fly in. However, if the earthworms opened up a small tunnel, who would be able to notice it? Lin Fan walked around in the courtyard. Numerous ants surged out from all corners. The sky was really dark at night. The ants gathered together, their black armor reflecting off the moonlight. He returned to the room and sat cross-legged. He controlled the ants to surge towards the small hole. The ants crawled really quickly, one after another, moving in an orderly manner. Within the Liang family granary, at the corner there was a small hole. An ant popped its head out and observed the situation around. After confirming that there was no movement, it quickly climbed out. Shortly after, ants climbed out one after another. There were many grain sacks piled up on the ground. They were bulging and were filled with grain. The ants bit with their sharp teeth. See la! A hole was opened up and rice grains rolled down. The ants started to move, biting a grain of rice. They then lined up in an orderly manner and headed back the way they came. Outside, 8 guards formed a squad and guarded the entrance. As long as there was any movement, they would sound the alarm. However, they didn't know that a thief had invaded the granary. Lin Manor back courtyard. 2 voices quietly fell on the eaves of a distant house. Old master, young master seems to be cultivating. Old Wu looked through the open window and saw the situation inside. Young master sat cross-legged with his eyes closed. This was a sign of him cultivating. Lin Wani still didn't believe that his unfilial kid actually knew how to cultivate. If it wasn't nighttime, he would have thought that the sun rose from the west. Old Wu smiled. Old master, it seems like although young master says that he doesn't want to cultivate, he really wants to. He just doesn't want us to know. Scoff, at least this unfilial kid doesn't want to fall. Let's forget about tonight. If he doesn't cultivate one night, he will suffer. Lin Wani tapped on the ground and floated into the distance. A happy smile appeared on his face. It seemed like there really was a change. All that he did was worth it. Old Wu smiled and didn't say anything. He knew that old master was laughing in his heart, but he didn't say it out. However, what did young master cultivate? It wasn't the purple sun for Saint Scripture. It didn't matter. As long as young master cultivated, it was a good start. It couldn't be seen with the naked eye. If one could see it, one would notice that his internal strength had turned into many thin threads that spread in the air. Normal people couldn't control it for so long. Especially when controlling so many ants. The internal strength would eventually dissipate. Many ants climbed out from the small hole and piled the rice grains in the corner. They then surged into the hole and continued to climb towards the Liang family granary. One grain after another. Very quickly, the rice grains in the corner of the courtyard formed a small mountain. Although ants were small and weak, there were many of them. Although compared to the grain in the Liang family's granary, they were still too insignificant, but if they had enough time and speed, they could slowly grind away all the grain in the granary. The sky slowly turned bright. Chickens crowed. Within the granary, the last ant ate a grain of rice and disappeared. The earthworms dug the soil and blocked the small hole once more. It was totally silent. If one didn't personally witness it, no one would believe how he did all this. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.